Take two, because that first attempt definitely didn't go totally wrong. Welcome to episode 36 of the G52 podcast. We've actually back within a fortnight of recording.
I know.
2 or 3 weeks.
Well, we kind of have to, really, don't we?
Well, what's
kind of contracted to talk about
contracted. Where's my holiday allowance if I'm on a fucking contract? Actually, we took about 2 months off, didn't we? So yeah, I probably have.
You've used your holiday allowance.
I've used my holiday allowance. Anyway, welcome. We are sat back in Stu's kitchen. I have a cup of tea, and we have Weekender chat to talk about.
We do. Well, we've got someone in to do that for us.
Yeah, because neither of us actually made it. Because I know that it was probably a death trap up there because I fire risk assessed a hotel.
Isn't that slander?
It's not. It's actually a very good hotel with a very good
now
hotel
it's not.
room.
Now you saved yourself.
Now I've sorted it. No, the biggest problem.
No, edit.
The biggest problem they had was. No, I actually can't say.
No, you can't.
I can't actually say any of this. So
stop talking. You've got dug yourself out of it. Now you're digging again.
It's a good hotel. It's fine. I like them. I drove up today. I drove all the way to Liverpool and back today. So for our Americans, I basically drove to the shop and back. For you guys, I did a 300-mile round trip for a 2-hour visit to site. I drove to Liverpool and back again. So like all the way up one side. I drove the length of Wales essentially today. Top to bottom of Wales.
It still seems pathetic, doesn't it?
It's very pathetic, but when you live in a small country,
sense.
Yeah, when you live in a small country, it's a long way. I love it. It was 7 hours of driving for 2 hours of work today.
That sounds depressing to us, isn't
it? I've got some really good audio books at the moment. I'm listening to the new Game of Thrones one, the Fire and Blood book. It's right up the heresy street, and it makes me laugh because it's a fake history of a fake historical fantasy show. So Fire and Blood is the story of the Targaryen dynasty,
right?
After the conquest to basically the start of A Song of Ice and Fire. So it's a fake history of a fantasy world.
I've not done any of the books. As soon as I started watching it, I thought rather than getting it mixed up and muddled around, I will finish watching it all and then I will start on the books.
I think you'll really enjoy the books. They're all on Audible as well.
Oh, I definitely will.
Roy Detrese, because it's as the books are to the TV show, like the Lord of the Rings books are to the films. You get so much more depth, and you get so much more history, and so much more involved in it. And it Jacob's naked and shouting in the bath upstairs. So I don't know if anyone
definitely can hear. Well, if we can hear it,
they can hear it. Jacob, I was sat down here with Emma earlier, and she's going, "Jacob, what time is it?" And he's going, "It's not bedtime." Like, no, it's not bedtime. It's bath time. Nah, it's definitely not bath time either. It's like that was said with so much confidence.
It's a pretty standard response to 7 p.m.
It was just the confidence of, no, it's not. No, it's definitely not. No, it's not. I don't know what you're on about, Mum. It's not. Yeah, anyway, back on track. This show before we started recording, I was given the briefing, let's keep this tight. We need to get it recorded, and I've already wandered off into...
We need to test Skype before we get our guests on in half an hour as well. So
yeah, shit, we're going to go on. So anyway, Stu, do you want to do the really easy bit? What have you been up to in the last fortnight?
It's not even a fortnight, is it?
Yeah.
It's been a week. I haven't been up to anything, have I?
What, other than painting a massive Battlefleet Gothic commission, which is technically Battlefleet Heresy?
Yeah, I finished
the biggest Battlefleet Heresy.
I don't think I've done the militia. Militia's finished, and
you did the militia as well.
And more Gothic than he's ever going to be able to play with.
I've never seen that much Gothic in one place.
It's quite a lot.
How many ships did you say? Because you were messaging me when
just
you were gluing
under 70, them. I think.
70 ships. 70 ships. There was a Blackstone Fortress in there as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's loads of stuff. I need loads of planets and things.
Did you make the planets, or did he send you the planets?
No, I made them.
What are they made out of?
Polystyrene balls.
No, it was good. It looked really good. Really simple and really nice.
Polystyrene balls and
just a bit of airbrushing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look really good.
A couple of bigger balls. I'm doing a couple more planets for him. A couple of 6-inch balls.
Got some big balls out there.
So I'll be doing those soon as well. But so lots of work, I suppose.
But this thing, you say you've done nothing, and you've painted 70 Battlefleet Gothic ships and a militia and what 30-40 model militia thing.
Yeah, it's because it's work.
Massive.
It's because it's work. It's just like.
but I mean, when we talk about what have I painted this week, I undercoated and airbrushed 5 Age of Sigmar models. Literally nothing.
I've done other stuff as well that's not heresy related. But
yeah. I played Tom, didn't I? I talked about that on the last game, didn't I?
You did. So you've had a game since.
Yeah, I played Titanicus with Kurt, and it was actually a full. Well, it's called even my first proper game.
Oh, I took the cellophane off my Titan down.
Yeah,
I literally thumbed through it from the back, kind of flicked through in less than a minute. I was like, "Oh, I'm reading."
Very pretty, isn't it?
It looks lovely, but lovely. We'll when all the Weekender news dies down, we'll probably come back and delve into that a little bit deeper. But.
It was really good actually. So what did I take? I took my Warlord. I took one Bat Reaver, as he's now known, with a fisty and a fist and a Gatling blaster. I took Blaster Reaver, so he's got 2 laser blasters. Both of the Reavers got the Apocalypse missile launchers because that's all they've got options on at the moment. So one with a fist and a Gatling blaster and an Apocalypse on its head, and the other one had an Apocalypse on its head and 2 laser blasters. I took 2 Warhounds. I magnetised all the weapons, but I decided to run one with 2 Vulcan Mega Bolters,
right,
and one with 2 Plasma Blast guns, 2 Plasma Blasters.
Okay, yeah.
And here's a slight hint: that's fucking brutal. It was brutal. And then I ran 3 knights. I took the 3 Questoris knights. I took 2 thermal cannons, and with metal guns and melee weapons, and a rapid fire battle cannon and just a heavy stubber on there and a combat weapon. So that's what I ran. What did Kurt have? Kurt had his Warlord. He had his Warlord, 2 Warhounds, 1 Reaver. Mm-hmm. He then took 4 Questoris knights and 3 Cerastus lancers.
Right.
So he had 4 Titans and 2 banners and knights. I had 5 Titans and 1 banner and knights. It was quite a well sort of balanced. So
what was the points?
We did 1750. I think Kurt was a few points short in the end. I think he was a little bit under, but we aimed for 1750. Yeah. Got it all out. We had all the nice terrain from Jody from the XLC. Is that up for sale yet? Has he put that up for sale yet?
I don't know actually.
I don't know, but it's brilliant because you can stack it because it's sort of square boxes, so it stacks really well. And we built. One of the things I'd learned is, make sure you've got some high buildings to make sure your Warlords have got blocks, because otherwise you just end up with Warlords pounding each other.
Yeah.
So you've got to move your Warlords around a bit, and
it gives you a cover for your smaller Titans against Warlords as well.
Yeah, because if you catch a set of knights in the open with a bellicose volcano cannon, there ain't many knights left. But yeah, so having those to move around. I'm going to admit to sort of cheating. I listened to Mark from the Age of Darkness's Titanicus, almost prep talk on tactics. So they've been doing their series about five. And Mark's last one, not the latest show that's just come out, the one before it. He was going through the tactics, and there were some things. I've got to go back and listen again properly, because I apologise, Mark. I was walking the dog and not really listening, but I picked up a couple of things from there, and they were absolutely spot on. Like, made it really, really, really smart things to do. He was saying, like, when you get your void shields, you can push your reactor to re-roll 1s on your saves.
Yeah.
Do that when you've got a 3-up save, because 3-up save re-rolling 1s is better than waiting till you're a 4-up re-rolling 1s.
Mm-hmm.
So first turn, Kurt blasts me, and I'm like, right, I'm going to push my reactor. He's like, you've got full shields. I'm like, yeah, but I want a 3-up re-rolling 1s, not a 4-up re-rolling. And that one little tactic kept my shields up, just gave me that extra 2 or 3 sort of 5% on my shields, and kept my shields up. So there was loads of little tidbits in there that Mike were.
It's getting your buffs up early.
Yeah. Pushing your reactor, knowing when to push your reactor straight away at the start, because you've got reactor to play with.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm thinking of other games I play though. So War Machine, you'd do that. You get upkeep spells.
Yeah,
and it would cost a certain amount of focus.
Yeah,
to put the spell up, but only 1 to upkeep it.
Yeah,
there's something in Middle Earth with Gandalf. You can do a spell, which basically gives him like a shield.
Yeah,
but then it's automatically upkept as long as he's got something called will.
Within
his profile. So you get that up early, maybe turn.
Yeah, keep it up and keep it going.
And then it's cheaper to keep it going.
Then raise it later in the game where you might have used some will.
Managing your buffs early.
Yeah. So it was that was really handy. It started off really well when my Warhounds went flying down the side, caught Kurt's Reaver in the open, and this is where this brutal pairing came out, because the Vulcan Megabolters, so they're 6 shots at strength 7, right. So a pair, so there's 12 shots off a Warhound, just strip shields, shields gone, and then you've got the two plasmas, 3 shots each. Maximal firing, because you're pushing on a maximal fire. If you roll a 1 to hit, you push your reactor 1 more. So it's not a huge problem. It's like so the shields get stripped off this Reaver turn 1. The plasma guns unload. So what's that? 6 shots into the side of this Reaver, and it detonated it in one go. I mean, I rolled an obscene amount of 5s and 6s for my armor penetrations. Like put 7 or 8 catastrophic damages onto his Reaver, just like, and he was just like, first engagement, like they literally popped around these buildings. Just, shit, that's a Reaver gone. Wow, that was savage, and it was absolutely brutal. So yeah, that was really good. So it was like shit, like Warhounds are. Don't underestimate them. But again, that was going back to what Mark said about having your Titans doing something.
Yeah.
I mean, what he referred to them as. So go and listen to this show if you're interested in playing Titanic. It's not about.
I've listened to them all.
Yeah, it's not about being cheesy, Mark.
But I'll need to go back and digest them when I need to properly process that information.
It was really smart. He was like, make sure you, and it's kind of how I think about my units in Heresy as well. I want that unit to do something. I remember coming around here when you were playing Jack. And he got his Grave Wardens and he ran him into combat. And I was like, Jack, they're a shooting unit.
Yeah.
Using a unit to do what, so in Heresy, we don't have the flexibility as much as maybe in Titanicus, but that's a shooting unit, that's a combat unit. So you know what a unit's designed for. And I tend to try and push the maximum for that unit. So Mark was saying, you want to make sure your Titans do it. So he referred to them as strippers, rippers. And what was the other one? Strippers, rippers, and hookers. That's it. Strippers, rippers. So strippers are your Titans for taking void shields. So you want lots of dice, strength 4, because if you're hitting void shields, strength doesn't matter. You want to hit the void shields as many times as you can, force them to make as many saves as you can. Rippers for doing big damage. So they're your bellicosas. So bellicosas are almost useless against void shields, especially against a warlord.
Yeah.
Because at best, if you hit with both bellicosas, bang over the centre, you're going to get 2 hits off each one. So you're only enforcing 4 void shield saves and pushing your reactor big time to do it. So your rippers are going to be the ones that when your strippers have taken the void shield saves, those 2 bellicosas, you get those 4 bellicosa hits in, strength 12 into any part of a warlord, it's going to do absolutely shattering damage. So it's using your Titans to do a job. So I think building a mana pool is around making sure I've got, what elements have I got? So my Warhounds, they work really well because you've got the Mega Bolters to strip the shields, and then you had the plasma to take it out. Now I prefer the plasma over the turbo lasers because the plasmas are a bit more versatile because they're 3 shots at strength 7,
right,
as opposed to 1 or 2 shots at strength 9 for the turbo lasers. And the plasmas have got maximal fire, not draining. So you're not pushing your reactor on them. So they're a little bit more flexible on that. So I quite like that as a pair of Warhounds. So and then the merging void shields where you run them touching together. So when you're spreading the void shield saves between them and stuff. So you run them together as a little hunting pack. So Warhounds work how you want them to. They work really well in a pack. And they move so fast. I mean, you look at the stats on a card. I mean, especially used to playing Heresy and everything's sort of 6-inch move or something. And you're like, flat out, I can move my Warhounds 12. But when you're playing on a 4x4 and you've got a Warlord that's moving 4 inches,
12's fast.
They feel so fast. And I mean, Sarasta's Knights as well, like moving at 12, they're so fast. They're so bloody fast. So that they work the way they're supposed to. But yeah, Combat Reaver ran up the table and got kicked to shit. The Stripper Reaver did quite well actually with so he's a ripper really because he's got the 2 laser blasters, so they're 3 shots each at strength 6.
Right, yeah.
And they got Shield Bane on them. So they're good. They're quite good. They're kind of in the middle because with Shield Bane,
I was going to say, what does that do?
It's a -1 to the shield save.
Right.
So if I fire my 6 laser blaster shots into your voids and you're on a 3-up save,
right,
I can push the reactor to make them Shield Bane, and you're then a -1 on that save, so you're effectively a 4-up save. So if they're quite good at is Knights because they're strength 6. Once you knock a Knight or 2 off and their saves are getting worse, if you start pushing that strength 6 in, because of the way the scaling chart works, you can actually push them off the save by being shield Bane. So that's quite a handy. Those laser blasters are quite handy. Those. But yeah, he pumped a few rounds. He kind of stayed on one flank and sort of funneled everything to one side. And basically the game came down to Kurt absolutely annihilated my flank when my two Warhounds and Combat Reaver were. But while he'd taken them on, my Knights had come through the middle of that pack and got round into his Warlord, and I was running the mission, which is basically kill the biggest thing on the table and how quickly you kill it. So I was going after his Warlord. So once the Knights got in round behind him, and I killed off his Reavers, and I'd done quite a bit of damage to his Warlord, killed off his Reaver, and damaged his Warhounds quite badly, and his Knights had to come across the table. They were in the opposite corner to where I was. they couldn't get to me fast enough, and I killed quite a few of them off. I got in with my knights behind him, and then bellicosed him in the face from my warlord, and that took his warlord down as well. But it was 4 or 5 turns, and it was really brutal. I mean, I lost. Combat Reaver got annihilated, got absolutely shafted. Got to ever say, once my 2 Warhounds had gone in and taken that engine kill in the first turn, Kurt punished them. They were stood out in front of his warlord and his Reavers, and they got absolutely annihilated. But he again, Mark, it was like, you've got to kill knights, because if knights get in amongst your titans, they will devastate them, especially on the charge. They'll just rip them to pieces. So Kurt had battered my titans, and my knights had managed to get in. The 3 of them had managed to get round him, so that although I'd lost my warhat and lost my titans, I got in to get my big prize.
That makes sense.
Whereas I think I only fired my warlord at him once, at his warlord once, because my warlord was killing his Cerastus knights and his Questoris knights. I was putting bellicosas and missiles into them to try and drop, because I wanted them dealt with. Mm-hmm. Because they got into my warlord, that's me dead. So I'm using my warlord to take out his smallest units. But one bellicosa hit on top of a set of knights will just ruin them. So it was great. It was good fun. It was a really, really good fun game. It was really tactical. There was lots of desperate. I mean, my combat reaver took so much battering. I mean, I got critical damage on every part of the body. It was just like this. It must have just been this smoking ruin. By the end, its stabilizers were knackered. It was spinning around on the spot. It couldn't shoot anything. It was just bleeding plasma everywhere before it finally went.
Would you change it? Because I'm listening to your list and the way you used it, and I'm thinking that just more firepower on that reaver rather than close combat would have been better. Leave you close combat for your faster stuff.
I'm not a fan of the Power Fist. I haven't used it in any of the games yet. I think I would turn that into a stripper reaver. I'm going to paint up the other Gatling blaster and run it with 2 Gatling blasters, and I'll probably get the Vulcan Mega Bolter to go on the top of it, so it can go up faster as well, because it's a real threat pushing forward. Yeah, because they're quite short range, those guns for Titanic, so it's good pushing it up the table, because it makes your enemy have to deal with that and covers my stuff sitting back. But it then, the power. I'm sure if you hit with a Power Fist, it's lethal. But I just never get. I haven't got close enough. I was wondering
a scenario where you're going to get it there.
The other thing, and I agree, and again, Mark was talking about this. I really agree with that. The Bellicosa Apocalypse Missile Launcher setup for a Warlord is probably the worst. Your Bellicosas are massive punches. Huge punches will absolutely punch holes in stuff. Your Apocalypse Missile Launchers are great for stripping. Now, if you're picking smaller targets, maybe, if you took a Reaver on, but you need to make sure you've got your Apocalypses on it and you've got your Bellicosas on it. So I don't know. I'm tempted. What I'm probably going to do is I want to get the upgrade sprue for the Warlord. Did the Warlord upgrade sprue come out separately? Yeah, I've got it.
Did we talk about this?
I don't think Chip's got it out on sale. I couldn't see it in the pub the last time I was there.
Was it direct only? I know we can get it, but if it's direct only, you'd have to order it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I just haven't.
I've got a feeling because when I ordered all my stuff, so I ordered Titan Death. Yeah. Was this after last recording? Potentially was. Because I had loads of vouchers, and I had some stuff from Forge World and some from Games Workshop, and I remember ordering like half Middle Earth, half other stuff. And I ordered it all, and then went, I didn't order a weapon sprue. Went back to look at it, and we haven't discussed this actually. I went back to look at it and looked at the price, and I don't think it's overpriced because it's a third of a Warlord box.
We did talk about this because we were talking about it being a third.
Well, no, we talked about it. I don't know if we talked about it on the cast. I don't know if we did, but I just looked at it and thought, oh, it feels expensive. It's not. It's fair enough. When you split down a third of the Warlord's box, but
one of the things that I will say I'm disappointed about big time with the GME edition, and I don't think now they've said it's being reprinted, I couldn't hand on heart tell somebody to buy that now. You don't get enough weapons cards in the box. It's completely wrong. You've got 2 sets of weapons for the Warlords, yeah?
Yeah.
It's very unlikely you're ever going to run 2 Warlords. Yeah. I can't see it being a good idea unless you're playing.
Is it a good value box to split?
But there's no, because you don't get anywhere near enough. You are going to run 2 Reavers, or at least 2 Reavers and at least 2 Warhounds, maybe but 2 of both. Yeah,
you get 2 of each.
You don't
you?
No, you get 1 Vulcan Megabolter, 1 Plasma for the Warhounds. Because my running them in pairs, I had only got 1 card for the 2 arms. So you need to go out and buy. If you're going to run,
do you need to buy it? If someone had two, almost identical Titans, and they put a little sticker on it that says this weapon, and they had the other one.
Yeah.
So they've only got one for you. Only need one for the reference.
Unless you're playing Kurt and he doesn't actually have the guns on the Titans.
Are they painted yet?
He's got paint on some of them.
Black paint.
No, there was coloured paint on them. Give me his due. He is trying to paint them. He is doing it, and that's fair play. That's a big step for Kurt to actually paint them. So I'm not going to slag him off about it.
He'd expect me to.
But his Warhounds didn't have any guns on them. And obviously, it's fine. It's Kurt.
The card's blue tacked to the sides of it.
But it was frustrating because you didn't actually have enough cards to play a 1750 point game.
Because I looked through them all at the beginning, and then we had that one game, and I've not really put it together because I still haven't built my wall.
The only way you've got enough cards is to play 2 Warlords, 1 Reaver, 1 Warhound, and not have double guns on the Reavers or the Warhounds. You've got ones. So, I mean, the weapons upgrade cards, I think, were about £7. This is the other thing.
Yeah, they're not those.
No, but this is the other. So somebody can enlighten me on posting the group or something. What comes in them? Because me and Kurt were looking at them. So we got the Reaver one. There's 26 cards in the Reaver.
Does it not list on the back?
No, it says there's 26 cards. Yeah. There are 10 weapons for the Reaver. So that's 2 of each plus 6 of what?
Pictures of naked ladies.
Oh, I'll buy them there. But it just seemed, again, it was just one of those things me and Kurt went, well, that's fucking weird. What's that?
Just some random baseball cards.
Yeah,
American football cards.
So I was like...
Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Brett Favre.
I might be being a bit...
And Gary Lineker. So from his Leicester days.
Because you never got that one for your last Pirelli stick book, was it? Is that the one you were always missing? Panini? Pirelli's car tyres.
Yeah, and Naked Ladies probably, I think.
Yes.
No, which ones you had? I grew up with Panini football sticker books.
I grew up with Pirelli girls.
Yeah,
actually, I did because
this kind of fits.
Used to powerboat race for many years. Absolutely fine.
Speaks volumes.
It does. But yeah, the cynical bits aside from the GME edition, honest to God, if you want to get into Titanicus, don't wait for the reprint of the GME. Go and buy that battle group box, which is a 2 Warhounds, 2 Reavers, a Warlord. The rule set.
Yeah, they seem to be the way to buy an army and a go.
Yeah. Unless you're desperately wanting scenery. And actually, the GME edition scenery is not enough. I bought the GME edition. I had the scenery. I bought Table Tom's scenery off him. And it's not enough scenery for a table. Because you can't build it high enough. And you can't build him big enough. Go and see Jody. Go and get his terrain. If you're just after basic and simple, that's brilliant. It's fantastic. And it's not bad looking. And that's when I say basic and simple, I'm not being direct. It's fantastic. It's great terrain. The stuff that we got from Jody for the event is stunning. It's brilliant. It works fantastically for a club environment. But I mean, I'm going to sell off my GME terrain because I'm going to play at home. You've got terrain. You've got enough terrain. Yeah. The only person I'm likely to play at home with is you.
Yeah, and I've got enough to...
Yeah, so and if push came to shove and somebody really wanted to have a game at mine, I'd just use my 40k terrain. I know it's not great, but it functionally...
Borrow from Chip or something.
Yeah, it functionally does.
Borrow mine. It's not going to be...
And to be honest, if I'm going gaming, I'd rather go to a pub anyway and play. So it's... The gripes aside with the GME edition, it's not a gripe with the game. I think the GME edition is not worth it. And I'm actually... I regret purchasing it because I'm going to sell off. I've sold off a Warlord. I'm going to sell off the terrain. I've got to buy more cards.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed. All the value in that box. So what it was sold on, it's a free Warlord. All that value is completely zero to me because it's redundant.
It would be great for someone. It's not bad value in terms of what the monetary value of what you get in the box, but it's probably not best.
The best way to if you and a mate are going to split it. But then even you're only getting a Warlord and 3 Knights out of it each. You haven't got enough cards, really. Because you haven't got enough Reaver. You can't split the Warhound and the Reaver cards because there's only one set of each in there.
I still think, I've said it before, if the Warlords had a different weapon on that, it would have been a really good marketed as the 2-player starter set.
Yeah.
Then it makes
would
sense.
have value, but
if you're just looking to start an army now that so many people have got it, then
go and buy
the
box
rules and the battle group box.
Go and buy the battle group box and the rule set box, and you're away. And you might have to buy a banner and then buy a banner of knights. But with the Cerastus Knights now, you can either buy the Cerastus Knights or Questorus Knights. You can get a bit more choice in it. Mm-hmm. It's not knocking the game. I genuinely had a great game. It played brilliantly. It was really fun. We had we looked up rules, but it was more me and Kurt going, I don't know what that rule does. Let's have a look at it. We don't. There was no we don't understand how this rule works. It was we don't know what that rule is. Full stop. Yeah, so once we read it, it was fine. We got the reference sheets. It's
in a good place now. We've got Titan Death out. We've got finally got the Warlord weapons out, and then as we'll hear coming up in the show, there's lots of new stuff coming up that was announced for the Weekender as well. So the game's in a good spot.
But genuinely loved it. Absolutely brilliant game. Fucking hilarious. And there were about 5 tables around us, all playing various. I think it was 40k. There was a heresy game going on. There was 40k. There was bolt action going on, and the amount of screaming engine kill, especially we've only just started the game. We're talking we're an hour into it, and probably about half an hour into it, and I'm screaming engine kill in Kurt's face because I've taken his Reaver down in the first turn. People were coming over and looking at the game, and a lot of people that looks really fun. I'm like, it is. It's genuinely great fun. I mean, marketing aside and sales aside, cynicism, it's a bloody good game, and it's fun, and it plays the way you want to do. Your Warlord's ponderous at the back, your Reavers are sort of dodging about, and your Warhounds are skittering around, killing stuff, and Knights are just mental. You're
coming into it now. It's a good time to.
It's a great time to get
into
stuff
you
now.
Need to get a good.
I think the starting set now. I mean, I reckon if you went somewhere like Incom now, you could get what you need to start for 100, 120 quid, all in.
Which, if you consider it, that's not a small amount of money when you compare other game systems. That's really good.
Yeah, and I mean, you're in then. You're in with so my Warlord, 2 Reavers, 2 Warhounds, 3 Knights, 1750.
This is a full-size game.
And that took us 2 and a bit hours. Okay, it was a little bit slow because we were still learning rules. I was saying to Kurt, I don't think I'd want to play anything bigger at 1750 Club Night. And to give you some comparison, we usually play 2.5k of Heresy. We can smash through 3k if we play at a good rate in a game. Even starts, but we normally get in at 7, probably get started by about 7:15, 7:45 by the time you've got a table out set, finishing by 10, so 2 and a bit hours. So 1750 probably takes 2 to 2.5 hours to play, depending on what you're playing. And I'm playing again tomorrow night, so I'm really looking forward to it. So anyway, do we want to talk about anything else?
No, I think this 5-minute intro was half an hour in, so we should probably take a break and come back with.
Right, I'm going to go up and fire up the Strumper Skype.
So when we come back after the break, we'll have Pete. Uplander Pete on with us to talk us through his experience of the Weekender.
Geno52 is sponsored by Incom Gaming, the new centre for tabletop wargaming in Gloucestershire. Visit incomgaming.co.uk for great savings on pre-orders and all your hobby needs. We stock many gaming systems and hobby accessories and can ship to anywhere in the UK. Incom Gaming is the only UK stockists of the market-leading gaming mats from gamemats.eu. Visit the store and check out how to turn your tabletop into a battlefield. Incom Gaming is based in the centre of Cheltenham and offers tables and scenery for casual and organised play with a fully licensed bar. Check out our events page for upcoming events where everyone is welcome. Save an additional 10% on Games Workshop Heresy products by using the code Geno52 at the checkout. Visit incomgaming.co.uk and help fight the betrayal. Incom Gaming. Come game, shop, drink. To shop elsewhere is heresy.
Welcome back. We are back with some Heresy Weekender notes. So, unless you've been living under a rock, we are now on Monday the 4th of February, and the previous 2 days have been dominated by the Heresy Weekender. Neither me or Stu could really be bothered to go up there because we're just lazy fans. We can be arsed, just crap, So we thought we'd instead of just sitting here and circulating rumours, we'd actually get somebody on who knows what they're talking about. So we fired up the Strumper Skype. Dialed in, put loads of cables into my laptop, don't really know what they do, but we now have on the line Uplander Pete.
See, it got a live link to my bathroom, we're all good.
Which one?
Oh no, that's the quiz.
Oh. There's not much echo. It's probably the downstairs cloakroom.
I think it's the new games room, which has been expanded for additional storage space, because I'm not jealous of that at all.
Well, your daughter will be 18 in another 4 years. You can kick her out.
I've told her she's out, and that's game turned in.
You can knock the wall through.
I can just knock straight through from my office and have an entire top floor.
Right. Anyway, tangenting already, aren't we?
No, it's no tangents. It's just
this show's going to be titled Weekender, and we're about 45 minutes in, and we've not mentioned it. Apart from say the Weekender a few times, we've not actually talked anything.
Well, as somebody said to me the other day, nobody listens to you for content. They just enjoy listening to you. That's the weirdest compliment I've ever had, but there we go. Anyway, how was the Weekender then, Pete? What were your overall impressions?
Right, it was the first Weekender I've done. I haven't done any of the previous ones. I've wanted to do a few and not been able to. But my general impression is it was absolutely fantastic. It was much better than I thought it was. I wouldn't say I was cynical about it, because I'm not really that way minded. I'm quite optimistic generally, but there was a bit of doubt that it was going to be quite heavy on the Necromunda and Adeptus Titanicus, but that's heresy. I'm comfortable with that. It was just that kind of slight betrayal that was bubbling on the internet that it was becoming specialist games and heresy. And all of the stuff that was there was branded heresy and specialist games, including the lanyards and the bags. And it was a bit like...
So interestingly, I saw a picture of one of the it must have been a goodie bag, and it said the Horus Heresy and Necromunda Weekender 2019 on it.
Correct, yeah.
No, I put it out there. I'm fully on board with the Specialist Games Weekender. I was one of those people who said, actually, being a heresy-only weekender is not less of a sale to me, but I'm an odd one because I play all these specialist games.
I have to be honest, being there, I ignored Necromunda, and I didn't have to try very hard to do it.
Yeah, that's cool.
The timetable was full for heresy stuff, and if you didn't want to go heresy stuff, there was Necromunda stuff to go to. Mm-hmm. And they had been quite clever and made sure the minor seminars for both systems were alongside the major seminar of the other system. You had like new models for heresy while you had, say, Necromunda artwork. Now, it's not to belittle the artwork, but obviously the new models and future of Necromunda ones were bigger ones.
Yeah.
So that kind of principle.
You've only really got a problem if you really love both games, and then
like
that's just life, isn't it?
Like some knobhead over here. But at least my decision would have been, well, I can do the big Necromunda seminar and then the big heresy seminar, rather than I've got to choose between the big one of either of those. So
it looked like it was well thought out. To be honest with you, I've got a tiny little bit of sympathy with some of the people who thought that, hang on, we were told that it was going to be heresy only. If I felt that maybe they should have been a little bit more honest up front, just because it makes them look bad.
I think
I don't think they delivered anything bad. It's just a bit of an own goal, really, with that, wasn't it? Well,
it had absolutely no effect on the day, though. I would say both days were, you could immerse yourself in what you wanted to, and you never felt like the other system was overbearing. If you see what I mean. Well, you might have been if you were just going for Necromunda, but. But like it was only like you had like a miniatures hall with the designers, much like you do at open days and that kind of thing. And Necromunda was a very small part of that.
And did everyone else seem to be pretty happy with the way it? What was you obviously sound like you enjoyed it a lot. Did everyone else seem to have the same opinion?
Everyone there was buzzing. It was a really good atmosphere. Everyone seemed to be thoroughly enjoying it. It was like you usually get at heresy events. To be honest, everyone was kind of pretty chilled about everything and over enthusiastic about other things, but there was certainly no undercurrents of
very much like I've
annoyance on the day or anything.
Very much how I found the community in general, maybe in the last few months, where the internet community maybe doesn't fully represent what the community is like when it's together in person.
I think the internet community is a poisonous reflection of the actual community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find when I go to events. Over the last few months, I mean, the internet community has been it's been quite tiring to just constantly see negativity. But as soon as I hit an event or meet up with some people, you get such a buzz from it because it is such a good community in real life. So it very much felt like that. When the people in the hotel were just like, "Oh, this is great," and it felt like an event, you know.
I've only seen one bit of negative feedback about the whole weekend.
The only thing that grated with the event ever so slightly, I would say, is that there was also a black tie dinner on the Saturday evening, and they were sharing a foyer and bar with everyone else.
Yeah,
which was quite entertaining.
I mentioned on the intro, I actually. The hotel chain is somebody I work for, and I've risk assessed that hotel about a tail end of last year. It was a couple of weeks. I think it was only a couple of months before they announced they were moving it to the EMA Radisson, and I very much know that chain, and it's a very nice chain. And I knew that entrance area, and I knew where the hallway. And I thought there's going to be a lot of mixing with the public, nerds mixing with the public. How did you find that? Sort of one of the things I thought, knowing the hotel, it is a bit on the side of nowhere because it's literally on the side of East Midlands Airport. Did you find any issues with like?
Well, I didn't stay over. I drove both days, or more importantly, Tonka drove both days, and I scavenged the lift. But
in the Tonka-mobile.
Yeah, but to be honest, it was straightforward. We drove there. Parking was free, which was a nice touch.
Yeah.
And so you parked outside, went into an event, went back out, got in your car. There was no. It didn't matter that you weren't near anything else. I mean, I suppose
it might have been for the guys in the evening. You know, you are stuck with the Radisson Blue chain is not a cheap hotel chain. It's not a budget hotel range. So
it's not. But
is there an issue getting food and stuff
during the day? And I didn't think they were unreasonable. We were still looking at about 20 quid for 5 drinks and stuff. I thought it was all right. I brought my own lunch with me, but some people ate there. It seemed okay.
It was maybe a lack of options as to where to go. It's not like you could, I think where it's been in Nottingham before, you could walk into town in the evening for a few beers and stuff.
Yes.
You're sort of probably not able to do it there, but that might, it depends how you're experiencing your weekend.
Absolutely. But I think generally it was all well laid out. It was good atmosphere. And I say they had 2 seminar rooms. There was a dedicated painting pod room, the miniatures and designers room with like displays and that kind of thing. There was the shop in like the corridor, which worked really well actually. I was a bit dubious of that at first, but that worked really well. Very, very good, really.
Good. That sounds really good. So, what were your sort of overviews then in terms of the game system itself? Then, what sort of the maybe outside of the new stuff? What was the other things?
I would say the initial thing to say is like before we focus on products, if that's all right. I would say like Anuj. I went to a forum with Anuj and Neil, and they kind of reinforced that that Anuj, Neil, and Emma are the core of the Horus Heresy writing and publishing team now, and that they are dedicated to it. They won't be working on anything else. And that extends across to the model design side. The designers that have been allocated to Horus Heresy, as in the 30k game, are dedicated to it.
Are they going to release some of Will's models that he keeps making, that he keeps showing to people and they never get out? Will might be dedicated to making them, but can somebody release them? Those missiles, the purvey. I mean, he's obsessed with making Derrideo things and nobody wants to sell them.
Yeah, that came. I might have brought that up in the Q&A and got pissed Tony Cottrell off quite quickly, I think. But that was all right. I thought generally that was good. But so they're a dedicated team, so they've not got any other distractions. They were really forward with stuff like they handed the book out in the forum, or a couple of books for everyone to pass around, and printed copies of the new FAQ that's coming out very imminently, which is the current FAQ padded out with magenta stuff, like as you normally get, if you see what I mean.
Did nobody take a picture of it?
No photos. That was the one.
Oh, was that the one rule? Was it? That's cool. That's good.
He said he's fine for you to. You can try and remember as much of it as you want. You can talk about it. He said no drama, but just no photos until they publish it. But the FAQ.
It's probably not fine. He's not finalised. Sorry, Pete.
He said the FAQ would be within the next fortnight, hopefully. So,
excellent. So we aren't waiting long then.
No, not at all. And it was good to flick through the books and ask questions and stuff as well. And I mean, some of the highlights from the FAQ that really stood out: destroyers reduced in points to 115 and 5 points for jump packs, which makes them viable in the game for everyone now.
What are they currently?
175, I think.
Fucking hell, that's a huge. Well, I know my five destroyers with jump packs, a thunder hammer, a missile launcher, and a Moritat with plasmas is 500 points.
Yeah, they've gone down in points, and jump packs for them have gone down in points, which is a bonus.
Here we go. I got it here. So 100 destroyers 150 points.
Yep.
They got counter attack.
115 points now.
Sorry, yeah. So they've had a huge points drop on that. And jump packs are 75 points for the squad.
They're now 5 points each.
So you're talking 25 points for 5.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's 50 points off the jump packs for 5. That's nearly a 100-point decrease in them. That makes them hugely viable.
We'll see a lot of those.
I think you'll see a lot of them in transports with no jump packs, because I didn't even realise they got bloody counter attack.
They do. Yeah.
I've never realised that they've got counter attack. But yeah, that is really tasty. Actually, that's really good. That's going to bring them in. That's going to make a lot of people happy.
The next unit that really jumped out to me, and it was the Praevian. The Praevian's been tweaked, so the robots no longer just take the Legion rules, but there are all 18 Legions listed, and they have their own version for the robots.
Oh, that's cool. So
and rather than being a plus points on top, it's included. So they've been balanced so that they all do about roughly the same thing for the points, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
But some of them have got additional. Like I think the Sons of Horus one could take Bane Strike ammunition for a further 5 points.
Yeah, which makes sense. Yeah.
But it was that kind of thing. That was good.
Good.
There's been minor tweaks to the Herald, which I didn't pick up on, and the Moritat. I know they were there, cool. But I didn't pick up on them, I'm afraid.
I was going to say, because I made my Herald for the last Legion of Peter event, which I promptly left at home and didn't bring him with me because I'm an idiot. And I keep trying to write a list to put him in, and the Banner of the Aquila really isn't that good when you compare it against the Banner of the Eye. So I'm hoping there's a bit of tweak into that.
I wonder if it'll be the other rules though, the one that contradicts when you've got.
Agreed. That was my first thought, Stu, to be honest. But I can't remember what it was written. If I'm
the banner, giving the +1 weapon skill to a unit.
Oh, it's not as good as the traitor one. No, but it was the. Well, I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head. I've got the bloody thing on my list.
It's got Writer Command and Support Officer, hasn't it?
Yeah, they clash, and it makes it a bit confusing about whether you shouldn't have one of them. So I wonder if that's more likely what's changed on the FAQ.
Yeah, which makes sense. Yeah.
And then there was quite a lot of Legion-specific stuff. So
the only one you remembered was about the Wolves.
Ashen Circle, their axes are now AP3.
Yeah, Callum has been basically dancing for about 2 days, I think.
Absolutely huge. So I imagine there's going to be a massive increase in Ashen Circle and Destroyer sales.
Callum's going to
already bought them all.
He's going to run a list that's 30 Destroyers and 30 Ashen Circle. That actually would be awesome. That would be so cool.
There was a clarification for Space Wolves on Warriors Metal that if you attach an apothecary to the Greyslayer squad, it is fully integrated within that unit and considered to be part of it.
Good,
so
good, sensible.
Because it totally stuffed people. That did. I remember the first time I played somebody with the Wolves rule, and he was like, "I've got apothecary in there." I was like, "Well, he hasn't got Warriors Metal," and it read as every model in this unit has to have Warriors Metal. So that's good. I don't think that's like cheesy or ridiculous. It just makes sense.
I don't think it's any worse than any other unit being able to take an apothecary. So
no, it just makes sense.
Anuj confirmed as well that he's still keen to do a Space Wolves Centurion that has Warriors Metal. So they've got
makes sense.
Type that they can take that runs as well. So.
I sort of don't, because Greyslayers being the core of the army, you'd have assumed that every console, every leader has come through that pack.
Absolutely.
So why can't they do the thing? If you've got you've got Terminator armor on, fair enough. But there needs to be some caveat that.
Also, with the Space Wolves army, having a little bit of experience of building one, the Greyslayers are your force. So it's not like you take your 2 token tactical squads and then you pad out on all the specialists to do the job. Your Greyslayers do the job. So they are a very good troops choice.
And
but
then you end up
having a big chunk of your army. So you then need something extra to put characters with and transport them, and it becomes a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. So it will just give a little bit more flexibility to Space Wolves players.
Yeah, you end up because you've got those mandatory, you have to take those HQs. You've got your Greyslayers as a core, and then you sort of like, well, I've got to take 3 HQs. What am I going to do with them?
Callum, I didn't realise until after buying the ticket. It's my own fault, but Callum and Harry's event is 250 points. Well, I have to have a HQ for every 1,000 or part thereof.
So you have to take 3.
I can spend 250 points on a HQ,
Oh, they've absolutely stuffed you there. Good.
Yeah.
I do like the 250 points though. I did like that. I thought that's interesting
because it 2 or 3.
But it makes you think about what you got. It does make you start thinking. Well, I can't just take my usual sort of list I take everywhere.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. And there were a lot more stuff in the FAQ that I'm afraid I didn't get because that was being passed around, book was being passed around. It was just a very busy little.
So the FAQ they're updating is the main FAQ.
Correct.
They're not touching the drop pod FAQ. That's staying as it is.
Yeah, this was the Total Age of Darkness one that covered a number of different books and publications.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we'll touch on this later. The Custodes one's not getting updated, but that's because that's covered in book 8.
Correct.
Yeah, cool. And we'll touch on that later. We'll touch on that later.
We'll come on to it, but the Custodes one aren't going to get covered in the FAQ because they're going to get a PDF version of their rules.
Yeah. So the FAQ is going to basically cover the Mech Red book, the 2 Legion Red books, and the Human book, and the Knights, essentially, isn't it?
And the rule book.
And the rule book, yeah. Sorry, it's going to cover basically cover that suite of red books, really, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. So that's what the FAQ is, and just for people, because I know that at the moment there's 3 or 4. There's 3 FAQs out in there. There's the book 7, the book 7, the main FAQ, and the drop pod FAQ. So this new FAQ will replace that main FAQ.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
The other kind of thing, just on general stuff, is that books 4 and 6 are coming out as soft cover, which I thought was a little bit lame, if I'm honest, because Tony said they were doing it because they're low on stock, or they're out of stock, so it's a quick way of bringing them back in stock. But he wouldn't confirm whether they were ever going to come back as hardback, and I thought it was a bit disappointing.
The other question, why? Yes, because to me, why book 4 and 6? So book 4 says to me, oh, it's okay,
because they're sold out.
But yeah, well, sorry, what I meant is, book 4. If this was a choice to bring out soft cover books, you said, well, why 4 and 6? Well, 4's got the campaign rules in. 6 hasn't really got anything in it. It does, and then when I saw your notes, you sent it because I hadn't seen the interim stock fill, and I was like, oh. Well, that's pointless, isn't it? Because I mean, for me, if I'm collecting the books, I'm missing book 3. I know I've got 4 now. If I was missing book 4 or book 6, and I'm collecting a series, I'm not going to buy one because I want a hardback copy.
Absolutely.
From a collector's point of view. So I don't really, and they're not like book 4's nowhere near current. Book 6 isn't current enough to make them like. I don't get the point of it.
I didn't follow the logic on it at all. I presume that it was just a cheaper and quicker way of getting them back in stock.
But I think to see what they look like and how much they are as well. I wouldn't mind seeing reduced ones without the out-of-date rules in.
Yeah, we talked about this. So like book 1, 2, and 3 with the rules stuff stripped out, soft cover, sold for 40, 50 quid. Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. I'd pick up book 3 then. I'd pick up a soft cover book 3. To
be honest with you, you'll get to the stage where you could all be released like that, couldn't you? Because let's face it, book 7 Custodes rules is going to be out of date already. Yeah. I'd be nice to buy them just as campaign books, wouldn't it?
You could do book 1 to 6 now as soft covers with no rules in. And you wouldn't be missing much. So.
Makes you wonder whether it would be worth getting full reprints, where they could maybe reduce them down. Maybe it'd be £50 books with the
when I saw the soft cover thing, I thought that's what they were doing. They were going to start re-releasing the older books.
That was my initial assumption.
They were going to re-release.
He said he wasn't promising that we'd get a softback range at all. He was really specific.
Yeah, which is fair enough. I mean, I don't follow the logic on it, but I don't follow the logic on other things. Then, so that's just me in general.
To be honest, bollocks to softback books because we've got a nice new hardback book to talk about.
I've got plenty of hardback books to drop on people. Right, should we get into the meat then? Should we get into book 8?
Absolutely. So, book 8 covers the narrative events of Cygnus Prime and the Chondax campaign. Cygnus Prime is picked up from after the Blood Angels. It gives a bit of pre-context and stuff, but it's essentially the campaign itself picks up they're established on the planet. And it's when they realise
Cygnus Prime. So it doesn't cover the other planets in system they hit before that.
It probably will as a bit of background, but the campaign predominantly in terms of the kind of the way they tend to read through, don't they, with like battle orders and that kind of thing. Is from they're already on Cygnus Prime.
When the red tier crashes to Cygnus Prime, I imagine probably from there.
Yes.
Because I guess if you
the rest of it will be covered in the exemplary battle section and that kind of stuff.
Well, it's in Fear to Tread, isn't it? If you want to read the story of Cygnus, it's in Cygnus in Fear to Tread. Cool.
And then the Chondax campaign picks up from when the Alpha Legion, when the White Scars become aware of the Alpha Legion.
So kind of where it starts in.
It's not going to be. He said it will obviously it will cover the narrative events of them fighting the Orcs and the fact that the Alpha Legion are I'm reluctant to use the word helping, but helping the orcs, if you know what I mean. Diverting them and corralling them and making sure the White Scar's job is harder.
Yeah, keeping the White Scars pinned in place. So it'll pick up a kind of... What's the first Scars book?
Scars.
It's Scars, isn't it? Yeah. Where that kind of starts, where they find the dead body, the dead Marines on the planet, and the suspicions start to become aroused.
And it will escalate into a full-blown war.
Yeah.
Between the Alpha Legion and the White Scars. They said it won't just be a guerrilla campaign. This is a frontline battle. It's a proper war, which is nice. Nice to see both those legions getting some sort of kind of proper meat to their background, I suppose, in terms of the heresy.
I'm really interested in pre-Khan Scars because I don't know an awful lot about them.
Well, that was really interesting, actually. From a narrative perspective, they're saying that the Scars originally, before the Khan, were the Pioneer Legion.
Yeah.
So they were organised in a number of pioneer companies, and they had Imperial Army and other and sort of other auxiliary support, and they were all sent out their separate ways ahead of the Great Crusade fleets for reconnaissance and minor skirmishing. And one of the challenges the Khan had was to unite all of these completely different armies and factions that made up his legion, in inverted commas, and bring them under one.
That's really cool. That's really cool because that's a really nice, gives you a really nice breadth for when you take on a White Scars project. Say, this is my chunk of a pioneer force that the organisation. Might now be a company within the Scars Legion, but they came from this aspect of this pioneer company, and there's still some Terrans around and things like that. That's really cool. That's a really interesting, gives you loads of scope.
Neil was sort of talking to Neil. He was saying like that you've potentially got recon companies, these pioneer companies that might be out there on like the rim of this growing crusade, and the people who are there now might not have been there at the start.
Yeah.
So they might have recruited and built themselves up again. So you might almost have a generational thing within these fleets that are out beyond our borders, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That was quite an interesting take.
Yeah,
so
really cool.
They're very, very different from just being Mongols on jet bikes,
Space Mongols.
Yeah. And then you've got Cygnus Prime then is Blood Angels and Demons of the Ruin Storm, and we'll come on to that very specific wording shortly. And then White Scars and Alpha Legion. To my understanding, Custodes aren't in the book from a narrative perspective, but they will get rules. But we'll come on to that later.
Yeah. They are a faction within the book, aren't they? Realistically,
correct.
Yeah.
So you'll get a full army list and background and all the things you get for Blood Angels. Same for White Scars, and then the same for Demons of the Ruin Storm. They'll be treated like any other faction in any other book. Yeah. Solar Auxilia Militia, they get background breakdowns, color palettes, all sorts of stuff.
Oh, that's cool. I'd love to see some demon artwork. Some real
And then Custodes have got rules in there, and then a number of new Legion stuff in there as well, but we'll come on to that kind of thing.
Yeah. Awesome. So, should we start with the Blood Angels then? What did we learn about the space vampires?
Yeah, well, we learned that they were cannibals first.
Space cannibals. Space cannibals that became emo vampires. What?
Before Sanguinius and before they were the Blood Angels, they weren't that, which didn't necessarily coincide with each other. And he didn't elaborate which way that was. But they were the Eaters of the Dead, and they were in white, and they looked essentially like World Eaters.
That's amazing. Well, there's always quite a nice duality between the two legions, isn't there? Sort of a narrative playoff between the Berserk Rage and the Noble Rage. It's been picked up quite a few times, that hasn't it?
Absolutely. And it's very much Sanguinius that brought that angelic nobility to the Legion, and the duality within the Legion is heavily played around that.
Stop eating, you'll get fat. Just drink.
Just drink the blood. It's fine. It's the new diet. It's like my breakfast smoothies.
Look at me, my body is a temple.
Yeah, ancient, creaking, and probably haunted.
Wow.
Oh dear.
But Blood Angels then, they get quite a spread. So they get Sanguinius.
Yeah.
They get Ralderon.
Yeah.
They get another character whose name I didn't catch. Apologies. They get Angels Tears, which are a dedicated destroyer unit.
Yeah. They
get Crimson Paladins, which are the Terminators we've seen.
Yeah.
They get Dawn Breakers, which are jump assault infantry.
Yeah.
And they get a Dreadnought with a jump ability. And we'll kind of go through these in a bit more detail before we focus on that last one. So yeah, so Sanguinius is
a beast.
For a start, the model is absolutely spectacular. It's a classic of do not judge a model from a photograph on
I love the photograph.
I was
a little bit confused by some of the kind of 50-50 mix. I was like,
I love the model with the sword, and then I saw it with the spear, and I was like, oh Jesus, I'm buying that.
Well, that gets a little bit cooler because if you arm him with the spear, the sword he has on his belt, I think is called it's called Moon Silver or something like that, and it's not the Blade of Perdition that he carries. So the spear is his primary weapon, but you can throw the spear and then draw the other sword and fight with that.
So if you throw the spear, is that it? You throw the spear and that's it. Then you can't then fight with the spear afterwards.
I'm unclear. Didn't study it in detail. I think it just might be going into each combat.
Yeah.
You can chuck the spear in, fight in the combat with your sword.
Pull it out, and then you can
carry on. That's immense. Because the spear is something like +3 strength on the charge, isn't it, or something? It's
possibly,
nuts.
If I'm the wrong person to go to for the rules today, I'm afraid.
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember what I've seen on the internet as well. But anyway, the model is absolutely insane, and he's counted it. They've got round his rules, haven't they, with his wings by saying he's jump infantry, but he can use the jump pack in the movement and assault phase.
That's right, yeah, in both phases, yeah.
And I think that this is where I'm going to get it wrong, but I'm sure. I think he's going to be his Sire of the Blood Angels rules is that an army with him in, if they've got jump packs, they can do the same as well. So they can use because the worry was that nobody's going to be able to keep up with him.
Well, yeah, agreed. I was also a little bit unclear whether they can do that the whole game or whether it's once per game you can do both. I'm not sure. So,
I don't know on that one either, but I've definitely heard that he'll be. I'm assuming he'll be able to do it all the time.
Oh, correct. Yeah.
And if he can do it, I would probably hesitate to say that every unit can, because the issue you're going to have is nobody being able to keep up with him. So it's kind of like Korax. You end up with Korax running around on his own because there's no unit that can actually run with him.
Absolutely.
So you kind of get this, which works for Korax because he operates kind of like that. But Sanguinius, you want a bodyguard unit with him.
Yeah, that's it. And on that bodyguard unit, you'd probably want Sanguinary Guard, but you're not going to get them as models or rules because the thought is that you take a command squad.
And use Sanguinary Guard models anyway.
Correct, yeah. So you've already got a mechanism there for doing that. And
I kind of like that.
Their role is honorary. It's not it doesn't require a separate rule set for them.
Yeah. I mean, if you say you're going to take a command squad, you're still getting weapon skill 5, 2-up armor save, access to all the power weapons.
Correct.
You're getting everything that a Sanguinary Guard generally has anyway. So
yes.
I guess probably the question Anuja would have been sat there. What would I do to make this Sanguinary Guard unit different from a command squad?
Correct.
So,
Neil and Anuj were both quite keen to say with that example and with some others that we'll come on to later that where you've got that option of taking something, and if you were to take the Legion-specific version, it would only be very marginally, sort of very minor tweaks to make it different.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we much rather they used that unit slot to give you something unique?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely with that. And the Dawnbreakers, that their jump assault unit definitely sound like a bloody good bodyguard unit for them anyway. So
yeah, absolutely. Anuj made a comment which I haven't seen the rules to be able to sort of clarify, but he said that whilst they're perhaps a little more fragile than people will be expecting, they have a punch. If you see what I mean. They're the Legion's bite. They're the spear tip. So
yeah, they're gonna do damage, but you need to support them.
Yes. Whereas the Angels' Tears, which are the destroyers, this was quite a nice thing. There's the idea is that Sanguinius has a lot of destroyers but doesn't like using them. they're the Angels' Tears because he has to be really, really upset to use them.
I'm really pissed now, so off you go.
Yeah, that's it. So and they use them when he wants to destroy, not just conquer.
Yeah,
and it's his last resort, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. And they're going to be destroyers with extra. They come with 2 Volkites, rag grenades, and they're going to have lots of options, aren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah, so they're going to be juiced up destroyers. So I imagine they're probably going to benefit from the fact. I don't know how rules writers work, but they take the core unit they're based off destroyers, and then add the extras on and point them up appropriately.
Correct,
I imagine they're going to be good because they're going to benefit from the fact their base unit they're worked off is better pointed now.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's good.
And then Crimson Paladins, which are the Terminators.
Yeah.
Now, the idea behind these is that these are actually on a par with the Sanguinary Guard in terms of role and honour.
Yeah.
But rather than being the guards of the Primarch, they're the guards of the Legion's halls and the Legion's relics. And they're a defensive unit narrative-wise, but it's considered to be a real honour to be elevated to the Crimson Paladins. And a bit like the Sanguinary Guard, it's one of them ones where you give up your identity to join it.
Yeah. So you become a faceless you become a representation of the unit rather than an individual.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And they've not got storm shields, have they? They've got an energy shield that affects strength of attacks and things, I think, from memory. I
believe that's correct.
Yeah, they're not going to be which is good, because I thought, if they're storm shield terminators, we've already got them with the fist. What's going to be the thing that makes these guys different? And if it's an energy shield, it works differently, because they're cataphracti anyway, aren't they? So they're going to be a 4-up save, right. And if you're -1 strength and a 4-up save, that's still going to be pretty tasty, especially when you throw a bloody assault cannon in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Have you seen the Crimson Paladin models in the flesh? Did you see them at the weekend?
Yes.
A comment was made to me by somebody that the legs looked a little skinny in the pictures.
I think it's the same with the dynamic sculpts.
Yeah.
When you go back, Terminators are quite bulky and kind of mostly their hips are just face on, and you don't have any dynamicism to them. The Varagir suffer from this a little bit as well. Once you put some movement into them, you suddenly realise they're quite narrow at the waist.
Yeah.
And I think it's exacerbated on them because they've got those sweeping kind of toga robes that swoosh around and over the waist, and it makes it look worse. But that does leave you with the fact that, yes, they do look like they've got narrow waists.
Yeah, once I saw it, I thought, they do look a bit thin around the thigh and the hips. But I think you're actually right. If you look at a standard cataphracti, it's usually 2 big square-on hips planted, isn't it? Not
correct.
I'm not a model sculptor by any chance. I barely do conversions, so it's not for me to criticise the sculpt. But I just saw it and I thought, actually, I can see that. That does look a little off. But then I thought, I wonder if it's just the way they photograph, maybe, and the way they look in the image.
I think it's a fair representation, but it's not unique to them.
Yeah. No, I can follow you on that. That's cool. So they're quite cool. And then we mentioned earlier the Dawnbreakers. So this is the jump assault infantry.
Yeah, Artificer armor, front line. I think they had spears, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
They're going to be sort of the epitome of what Blood Angels are, really.
Well, they better be, because
they're going to be elegant, fast, striking unit, but not necessarily. They're not going to be rugged. They're not. Think that if anything, Blood Angels are more fragile, but striking well.
Yeah. They got to be, because at the moment the best jump assault infantry is the Loctaris at the moment. So, no, that's good. It'll be they sound what you want, don't they?
Yeah, that's it. And then there was the jump pack dreadnought.
That caused a lot of. I did hear rumours of this around the traps a little bit. Only 5 or 6 months ago, it was, and I was like, really?
They were a lie, or people winding us up.
Yeah.
Right. The justification is that it's not a jump pack. It's got like a one-use rocket pack on the back, booster pack.
It's a dreadnought with a rocket strapped to its back.
Yeah, the idea exactly. The idea is that you can chuck it out of a plane and it can land without problem, and that would be your one use. So you get deep strike, or you get to make one
massive
jump movement, or you get to charge with it 3d6 once.
Yeah,
that seems to be it. So you get to do one of those 3 things.
I imagine if you charge 3d6, you'll get a bonus to a hammer or wrath maybe as well if you're coming in like a steam train. You might make 2 hammer or wrath or something.
I don't know. I think if you've already gone 3d6, ignoring intervening terrain with a dreadnought, you've probably got enough bonuses anyway.
Yeah. Is this the one, and this might be me getting it right, is this the one that's going to have twin blade of perdition arms?
It's got claws, yeah. Claws of perdition.
The claws of salty tears.
But so they're going to do that. Presumably, they'll, like the blade of perdition, they'll cause additional wounds. Presumably, that don't spill over.
That's been clarified as well. I think Anu's clarified that, hasn't he?
So all those dirty, cheating Blood Angels players
basically play it the way the gentlemen play the game.
Correct.
Yeah, but it did. To be fair, it did need clearing up. But I mean, for me as a mech player, you say you've got a dreadnought that's going to strike at initiative 4. With probably 4 or 5 attacks doing multiple wounds. It's like, there's my automata shredded. But they're going to be a 0 to 1 choice as well, I think, aren't they?
I think, they're not a Talon, they're a unit. A bit like Maragal, it's just a one thing.
Yeah, you definitely
but
don't
not a unique thing. You could have multiple slots. The same way you could have with Maragal. It's not a unique character. It's a type.
But you don't want to be. Yeah, it's going to either it's a heavy support or maybe an elite those slots that you've got to have multiple of them. So you'll be making a choice to. Oh
Absolutely.
God! Can you imagine a Fury of the Ancients list with like 3 of them in there? Oh Christ! Oh Christ!
Well, there'll be other options for taking dreadnoughts, and I'll come on to that in a bit as well.
Yeah. Oh God, that could be lethal.
that kind of rounds out the Blood Angels for their new hits.
I mentioned Raldron. He seems like he's a bit of a beast. There was just the one comment I made with Raldron, and there was somebody said, "Oh, he's not got a jump pack," and I thought, good. Because he's
not that kind of character anyway.
No, he's not that kind of character, and it actually gives you, if you want to take him, it'll force another little build on them, And he's a pretty big beast by himself anyway. He's pretty tasty.
I mean, he's there was a lot of comments about him essentially being Sigismund for the Blood Angels, and a lot of people were levelling it as criticism, and actually I think that's bang on exactly what he should be.
It's what he's supposed to be.
Yeah, he's the balance of the Legion. He's halfway between kind of a rank and file savage and the nobility that Sanguinius brought to it, and that's bang on right.
Yeah, he's almost the exemplar of what Sanguinius wanted from the Legion, isn't he? And that's why he's first captain. That's what he was after. So cool. Everybody forgets the white scars, so we'll move past that.
Yeah, not important. No.
I can hear Pete Reese's rage from over here. So we finally got some information on the scars, and I think it made a fair few people happy. And I might have already started working on a little list for white scars already because I got very excited by the models and the information and especially a lot of the amazing artwork. I know I was chatting to Liam the other day, and he is super excited. He's going to do. I think he's going to do his third White Scars army.
He's going to do his third and sell it again.
Yeah. So the White Scars. What did we find out about the Scars, then, Pete?
Well, first of all, I have to apologise that I'm really light on rules knowledge for these guys. I probably know about a quarter of what we've talked about for the Blood Angels. So
I'll try and fill in with what I know.
I can give you a good rundown of units and that kind of thing, but I couldn't tell you what their abilities are going to be, I'm afraid. So we've got Khan. Khan will come with a jet bike and on foot.
So I think he was balanced with. He's going to be faster and less tough on foot, but tougher and slower on a bike, I think, is the way it's balanced.
Well, there's going to be a points difference as well.
Yeah, 60. I think I've seen 6 plus
65.
I think he's 395 base plus 65 for a jet bike, and that's still pretty tasty.
He's cheap, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say 395.
But I think you'll find
price,
I think you'll find he doesn't bring much to the Legion as say someone like Gilliman does.
Correct.
I think he'll be a beast, and he'll bring stuff for the Legion, but I don't think he'll. He
not
won't,
in the same way. He's not a buffer. He's a fighter.
He'll be a fighter. So I think that
like an Angrong type of Primarch.
Yeah, I think that's really because I know Tabletop is still so salty about Gilliman because he's like just a few more points than Fulgrim, and I've punched him to death with Gilliman before, and Gilliman brings all those extra rules to the army. So I think you might find that the Khan's a bit more combat focused than army focused.
One seemingly amazing trick is that regardless of your initiative or any other rules, he always goes first.
See, I heard that, but I think that's only if he's on foot as well.
I don't think that's the case. I think it's both.
Or it's only in the first or was it? I think
first round of combat.
First time, and I think he has to charge. I think it's on the turn.
No, I don't believe that's the case. I think it was just in the first round of any combat he is in, he always goes first.
Oh, that's going to make Fulgrim so salty.
To represent that he is hugely unpredictable, and no one really understands him or knows how he fights.
Yeah, he
moves. Always has the drop on you.
Yeah,
is the point.
Now that's really cool, and I really like that. I really like that because especially. You go in against someone like Fulgrim or something because there's I can't remember what book it is, and there's a cut flashback to an Ullanor scene, and they're all talking about who could kill, who could take each other out the Primarch's arm, and the Khan's saying like Fulgrim's like prancing around and stuff, and Khan's just like, nah, kill all of you, and they're like, no you won't, it's like, I will, because none of you know what I do, and they're all like, yeah, that's probably pretty scary.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
And then you've got Quinzar, who's the leader of the Keshig, his bodyguard.
Yeah.
And he got rules in the programme, which is quite nice.
Yeah. So we should have said Raldron had rules in the programme as well, didn't he? That's where we know a bit more about him from.
Which was a really nice touch, actually, to be honest, getting rules for a couple of characters in there and this. But
the list of special rules Quinzar comes with is pretty long. Hey?
He's a monster. Tartarus Terminator armor, Iron Halo, grenade harness, and then the Tails of the Dragon, which is
I've got it somewhere.
A pair of 2 separate Dao blades.
Yeah.
Which he can use together as a matched pair.
Oh, no,
and then he has different fighting styles for them, which give him different abilities, which is phenomenal. And
then you go into his special rules with Legion of Stars, independent character, Master of Legion, counterattack, Furious Charge, Master of the Keshik, and he gets a dedicated Warlord choice as well. You know, his Warlord trait is picked for him. I mean, that is monstrous. I mean, the Tales of the Dragon splits between basically an initiative 1. What's he? Strength 3. He's strength 4 plus 3 strength. So he split the mountain. So he's strength 4. Goes to strength plus 3 if you split the mountain. You add that to Furious Charge as well. So he's strength 8 on the charge at initiative 1. And what's he? 5 attacks. So 6 on the charge. He's already got the paired weapons built into his attack. So he's 5 attacks on the charge, 6 on the charge, 6 strength 8 AP2 hits. He's just going to bulldoze through tanks. He's just going to run through.
He's a monster. He really is.
And then his other option is you go at his initiative, don't you? Which is 6.
Yes. And then it's essentially
strength Paragon Blades.
Yeah, but without the Murderous Strike.
Yeah. But he's got Precision Strike though, so you can still pick people out.
Correct.
He's a monster. I may have based my army around him.
He very much reminded me of how we all reacted to Val when we went through him when his rules were released.
Yeah, he's awesome for 220 points, and a command squad of Keshig because we'll cover the Keshig in a second, but you can't. There isn't a Keshig unit as such. We'll talk about the Ebon Keshig, but they're not the Keshig that I think that people are expecting.
The Keshig he's with, I believe, are the Golden Keshig, and I think if I'm correct, and you have to forgive me if I'm wrong, that you take a command squad to
it's a really slick bit of rules writing. Yeah, so you take a command squad and you upgrade them to be the Keshig, and they basically get the option to take glaives plus 10 points.
Correct.
But the restriction is they have to deploy with Kinzar. You know, at the start of the game, have to be with him. So I might have written a list that's him, five Keshig Terminators, and a chaplain in a Cestus Assault Ram.
What? No, don't put 2 characters in one squad, Tom, because that's just not fun, is it?
It is for me when I hurt people because I'm nasty. But because
if I want Death Stars, I'll watch Star Wars.
If you put him in a Cestus and you take his Warlord trait, he brings 1 unit in automatically without having to reserve roll, so you can get round the thing with the flyer not coming in by going, oh look, the Cestus has come straight in turn 2.
I'm looking forward to you trying to get games in 2019.
Oh, no, nobody plays me anyway. Nobody wants to play me anyway. And
so
I'm just trying to balance.
Character
I'm just trying to balance.
Solomon Khan, which amused me. If I'm honest, I didn't get an opportunity to ask what the naming inspiration, why they felt that was the correct naming choice. But
I just like the silent T.
But he's a very different character to Quinzar, and I believe I haven't seen his profile, I'm afraid, but I believe they were saying he represents more of the Terran side of the Legion.
He there's the 2 Khans. You got the Jagatai Khan, and then you had his 2 Khans underneath, which is where the rift forms in Scars. And I thought Solomon Khan was one of those 2 Khans, and he was the more Terran. I may be getting this totally wrong because it's been a while since I'm Scars, but he was the more Terran Khan who sided with Horus. I might totally be getting this wrong.
His name doesn't ring a bell.
I'm going to back.
Not for the right reasons.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this Trump thing and deny all knowledge of anything I've just said because I might be getting that totally wrong. But yeah.
But then, so sorry, I can't really elaborate on him because apart from his name, which
I don't think we got a lot of
missed everything else on him.
I don't think there was a lot of information on him in general.
No, but then you've got the Ebon Keshig, which is a really interesting unit from particularly a narrative perspective because they are an ad hoc unit made up of warriors who have something to prove. So if you're, let's say you're a captain, for want of a better term, and you're vying to move up to be a delegatus role, you can elect to join the Ebon Keshig to prove yourself for promotion. Likewise, if you turned traitor and have been let back into the Legion and you have something to prove, you might elect to join the Ebon Keshig to prove that you're still worthy
cool.
of place
So if you hadn't quite been sent out on Zagir Mazan, you could, but you were still a bit dubiously loyal. Maybe you were a delayer. You didn't quite act quick enough. You waited to see where the bullets lay before you joined the side.
Yeah, but also a bit like Aenid Thiel and like marked for censure. It might be that you're atoning for something. That kind of thing. So,
You've not done something wrong, but you've maybe broken you spilt the Khan's drink or didn't give him the right fork with dinner, and you've got to make up for it.
Your jet bike stalled or something.
Yeah, you stalled the jet bike when you're trying to do a wheelie around the inside of the Grand Hall or something.
But they're a nice unit. They've got the war blades and what have you, and they're if I remember correctly, they're actually just listed as Terminator armor, so you can choose what style of armor you put them in.
Oh, that's cool. That makes sense.
But it looks
nice.
like the models are going to be Tartarus.
Yeah, which makes sense for the Legion. Maybe not so much. I'm not saying that the rules should be they have Tartarus, but the flavour and the style of the Legion does lend itself to Tartarus quite nicely.
It really does. And then you've got the Kaizagan Assault Speeder, which to everyone else is a Javelin variant.
Yeah, with the Carriers.
Carries assault cannon, Reaper autocannons, and more armour, essentially. It's an up-armoured version.
It's lethal.
And the idea is that it's the mainstay of their tanks, essentially. I mean, of course, they have other tanks, they have everything, but
this is what they prefer.
Preferred support tank.
That's going to be that's their medium to light armor hunter, isn't it? Really, that's what you're going to be chasing down rhinos and Sakarans with that. You're not going to be troubling Spartans with it and stuff. But I imagine it'll come with an option. You can stick hunter killers on it as well, can't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and it actually got the hunter killers built onto the side of the like the central bit behind the two Space Marines with the air intake.
They sit just above the on the outside edges, above the shoulders.
Just so you can get a nice singeing on the side of your helmet when that missile goes flying over your head. Just like that multi-melter that's between the two people in the not in the face pattern speeder.
Best pattern speeder.
That is the best pattern speeder, and it's because Mullins named it the not in the face pattern speeder. It's the best name for any speeder ever. Cool, and then they're going to get
the model for it is absolutely stunning. I think there was a nice point made at the Weekender of the Forge World team aren't quite sure how the crew pick up their swords. So when you look at the model, look at where their stowage is and where their equipment are. It's quite an entertaining.
Stu's looking at it now. He's trying to work it out.
Don't think I can see from the picture. To be honest,
it's almost on the bottom of the hull.
Oh right, that's fair.
But yeah, it's nice.
Oh yeah, I can see in the 3D image rather than the picture or the other. Yeah.
It's a really beautiful model. It's been superbly done.
I love it,
and it's really nice that it's got Mark II crew as well.
Yeah, it was a real nice touch. Because some of the characters that were previewed were Mark II as well, weren't they? The Praetors were. Yeah, that's not on your list, is it? We actually haven't mentioned that. We saw.
No, it's not a unit, so we'll come on to that in a bit.
All right.
Models is last.
Yeah, cool.
You've been given a bloody list.
I know.
I remember.
And why did I say give me a list? So I don't jump ahead and start asking questions about things that are coming later.
That's literally what you said. I laughed when I got that text.
Go on then, last unit for the
jet
Scars.
bike unit. And they've got Kashmir pattern jet bikes.
Yeah,
I've no idea what one of them is.
I'm pretty sure this is the jet bike that... What's the Dark Angels character in 40k rides? Samael? Master of the Raven Wing from the 40k model? I'm sure it is. I'm sure that's the...
Is that because it looks like the one on the cover of Scars?
Yeah, and this...
You said it with such confidence.
No. I've heard this. I've read so much crap this weekend, and this is all Strump lies anyway. I'm sure there's artwork of the Kashmir pattern jet bikes been shown in White Scar's colours, because it's the one that looks... I always remember it because it's the one that looks like the front of a Battlefleet Gothic ship. It's got that kind of big prow front, and I'm sure that's the jet bikes that the White Scars use, and it's based on... And that's where the Dark Angels character's bike is from.
Might be.
Cool. It's a really nice pattern.
We'll go with it.
Yeah,
if you don't agree, let us know.
And if you don't agree, there's no evidence of me saying anything.
Kashmir could be disputed.
It sounds more like a kebab. Do you think it's just going to be White Scars on a round lump of meat?
But they get hit and run and power lances and probably some other rules.
I think the power lances are something like strength 10, AP 1 on the charge.
They are,
but that's it. Once you've smashed into somebody with them, you can't then use them again all game. They're like a one-use thing, but they're supposed to. They're supposed to just
a bit like cavalry used to be for the Rough Rider cavalry.
Yeah. Smash into them, bury your lance into somebody's backside, and then run away.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not?
Oh, cool. So that was the White Scars and the Blood Angels then. And then we're going into General Legion Army List editions. What else have we got coming for the general units then?
Yeah, I think the first up, there's 2 new units, there's some tweaks to existing units, and there's 5 new consoles. Yeah. Now, the 5 new consoles are in flux, because no one so far can quite agree what the 5 are. So I'll give you my rundown of what I understand the 5 are, and then when it's different later, tough. So the first one was like a subsidiary commander to a Forge Lord.
Yeah.
And he was master of the Legion's Dreadnoughts. And he allows Dreadnoughts, and I'm unclear on what type, to be taken as squadrons. Not Talons.
Why would you want to take them as a squadron
of them? Now, I think that it might have been box dreads and Quartus ones, but I'm not confident enough to put that down anywhere.
My only question would be, why would you want to do that? Because that only seems like a disadvantage to me, because you've got to keep them together and then whole points carry over.
Because I think they're part of his unit.
Oh, right. They'll actually go with his force.
That
would make sense.
Yeah,
I'm with you now. Yeah. I thought, like, as an army-wide buff, that would be hilarious if you've got a bloke walking around with 3 box dreads.
He's got a corpusant stave, and he just goes around electrocuting dreadnoughts to get them to do what they're told. He's like that dude in Star Wars who looks after the Rancor.
You know you're going to have to model it like a cattle prod. It'll have to be like a cattle prod. Just poking him up the arse with dreadnoughts.
So that's the first one. You've got the Dreadnought Wrangler.
Dreadnought Wrangler. There, his name. That's sorted. The Dreadnought Wrangler.
Then I'm going to change the order now. Don't have kittens, all right?
Yeah.
I'm doing it intentionally. Then there was the Warmonger. Now, this guy's above a Delegatus, but below a Praetor.
Yeah.
But essentially does something like both of them.
Mm-hmm. So he might be...
It's not vastly different, but he's between them. I'm unclear on exactly what his role will be for us, rules-wise.
I'm unsure as to what the need for him really is.
I wonder if he is going to have more wounds or something like that than a Delegatus, or I'm not sure, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what's the reason for him is going to be
wider weapon options.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I just because to me at the moment you make a conscious choice between your Delegatus and your Praetor, because I'm going to go balls into a Praetor. I want that big killer unit, or I'm going to go for a Delegatus because I've maybe not got a Death Star combat unit. I need a Master of the Legion to do other things.
Well, the other thing I'd wondered, and again I didn't read it, I'm afraid, but I had wondered whether he's going to be quite a showy unit. So he'll be like all his weapons are master crafted, and maybe he gets something stupid like Eternal Warrior or something. Do you know what I mean? Maybe he has something.
He needs to bring something very unique to make him sort of. I don't think there's a massive gap between Praetor and Delegatus that needed filling, if that makes sense. So I'd be interested to see what he brings to the table to give him I always try and think of roles. What's he there to fulfill?
I thought he was an odd choice, but I didn't get a chance to read about him to kind of work it out. And then the third one then is an armory officer. He had a better name than that, but essentially he is in charge of war gear, and he makes heavy weapons, specifically Volkite and heavy bolters for heavy support teams. If he joins them, they become mastercrafted.
That's cool.
Now that's massive, because heavy Volkite calibers are the bane of my life anyway.
And if they're hitting on threes, re-rolling, and you get to re-roll one each off. There's going to be a lot of dice admin, rolling 4 dice at a time and picking one to re-roll.
You'll know that dickheads like Collister with their Imperial Fist.
He's fucking heavy bolters hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s.
So they're going to be hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s with heavy bolters. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And if you're forced to take a third HQ in most of your lists as well, you might as well...
What would it... See, I could be a total tool. I could stick in with a heavy bolter squad in the Ultramarines. They'd be hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s, and as long as I tag them right, they'd be hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s, and generally wounding on 3s, re-rolling 1s for interlocking tactics as well.
Maybe you could play games with Collister then.
Did you wonder why we chat a lot about games?
And then the last two then, now there's a bit of ambiguity as to whether there is a fifth console that everyone's missed, and this is only one console, or whether it's two. I think it's two. You've got a demon summoning unit. So this is some sort of chap who's going to get involved in summoning demons and using limited psychic powers. But he's not a sanctioned psych or a librarian. So the idea was, and Anuj was quite clear on this, that the librarian no longer exists. The legions don't use it. It's gone. Anything they have now is beyond the control of what the librarian once was.
Yeah.
So he was also very keen to say that you don't have to be a traitor to summon demons.
Oh, interesting.
The idea that the enemy's weapon is a good weapon to use against him, and experimenting with these things, but no one knows what they are anyway, because we've got these strange Xenos that are coming through slits in reality, and we don't know what they are. Can we use them to help our cause? Are we a desperate commander somewhere?
Yeah. See, that'd be interesting for
seemed like a good idea at the time. Sorry.
It'd be an interesting choice for a Black Shields force that's maybe, loyal, but what book
I think my favourite quote was Anuj saying, I'm going to quote him more or less, him saying that, do you not think even someone like Gilliman would have sat back at one point and considered how he could use demons?
There's a whole story on it in the Runestorm book.
Yeah,
there's literally this whole story arc in Runestorm.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see, Black Shields Force. So, what's the Vulcan book when he returns to Earth? Old Earth, isn't it? Old Earth. And they meet the Iron Hands, who have basically reanimated Ferris's corpse, and are they're loyal, but they've totally lost the plot.
Yeah.
So there's definitely scope for that. They don't know they're demons. They don't know they're chaos gods. We're a shattered force that's broken away from the main legion, and we've started experimenting with this kind of weird shit because we've been forced to battle it.
One of the big themes in Book 8 that Anuj was keen to kind of stress is that people don't know what demons are. We all sit there and go, oh, demons, 4 chaos gods, and we know what it is from our meta, but
they don't.
The narrative is that no one knows what they are. The 4 gods aren't really the 4 gods at this point. The demons of the Ruinstorm are unaligned.
Yeah.
They come from, well, we'll go on to that more, but there's more than just the 4 gods dabbling, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then the very last one then is an anti-demon, anti-psyker style unit, which is the antithesis of the last one, essentially. Yeah. And it'll have access to kind of like psych out grenades and different things like that. And I imagine we'll have some null abilities, but I haven't read it, to be honest.
Or some specific null abilities against demons, maybe, rather than against psychic powers in general.
No, it was leveled to be kind of the same sort of thing.
Oh, like not Ex-Oblivia. What's the other? Because that's the big one, Ex-Oblivia and the Sister of Silence rules, which is. But they have the other. There's 2 levels of null in the Sister of Silence list, isn't there? There's the Ex-Oblivia, which I think Janita Kroll has, which basically shuts everybody down.
I think there was talk at one point of Toxophare on ammunition or something similar to that, and I think that's going to be a bit of an anti-psychery type thing, or anti-warp stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have access to that, but I'm a bit unclear. But that's the 5 consoles as I understood them. And then the other big change was, then there was a few tweaks. So Sakarans have been tweaked. All of them have been tweaked.
That's cool.
But specifically, the Plasma and Punisher variants can be taken in squadrons of 2.
That's cool. If they make the Plasma a 36-inch range and in a squadron of 2, I think they would be. Because at the moment, I think Kurt's got one, and every time he puts it on the table, it's just doesn't do anything. It just gets a night. I think he's had one good round of shooting with it in about 5 games.
They kind of justified it as well, and sort of said the Arcus is supposed to be rare and hard to build, and it's sophisticated tech. The standard Sakaran with the accelerator cannon, that's a really high tech kit.
Yeah,
the accelerator cannon is hard to manufacture. Yeah. Whereas these 2 are the cheap.
They're basically
plasma technology is coveted in 40k, but in 30k, plasma tech is plasma tech. So you can roll these ones out, and these are the battlefield, the the austerity patterns.
Yeah. They're technology. One's a big cannon. One's a Sakaran with a big cannon strapped to the side of it. One's a Sakaran with plasma gun strapped to it. It's fairly common stuff they use. It's not.
Correct.
It's not, because the accelerator autocannon that's on the battle tank is the only place that exists, isn't it? It's not like it's duplicated in other units as well. But that's cool. That's all right. So we
Oh, sorry?
Yeah, I was going to say, then we got the Annihilators next, then, haven't we?
Yeah, so Anuj and Neil both said several times there are 2 new units. I only ever got sight of one, and no one else seems to have got sight of the second one either, and I'm not sure why. But Annihilators appear to be one of them, although I have since heard people say that Annihilators is actually just a subset of Destroyers and it's not a unit, so I'm a bit confused by this. But
kind of like not Rampagers. What's the when you take tac squads with just chainsaws and bolt pistols?
Can't remember.
They've got.
I know what you mean.
There's a separate model for them, isn't there? Ravagers? I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
but Annihilators essentially are destroyers designed for anti-psyker and anti-demon combat, and they have toxifere and ammunition and maybe a few other tricks.
Cool.
But I understood that they are a separate unit.
Yeah. Well, so that all these new units and these tweaks, that's coming in Book 8, isn't it? All this stuff is coming in Book 8. So we should hopefully know within the next month or so. Yeah. Hoping.
Now, I'm not 100% on this, but I seem to recall things like the Sakarans being tweaked may well be in the errata that's coming out.
It would make sense, especially if we're going to have a little bit of a longer delay on this book than they're anticipating.
Yeah.
I mean,
the consoles and the new units won't be, but the Sakaran tweaks and stuff, I'm pretty sure.
Stuff they can chuck the lines in and just say, look, do this, put it in a couple of lines and chuck it out in a PDF, then people can get on with for now. That'd be all right. Cool. Let's cover the Psychana, because that's going to be quick, and then we'll take a break, because the next we're going to go into is the Demons and the Custodes in Book 9. So let's cover Psychana relics, and then we'll stop for a little break for a second, because we've been chunting on for a bit. So, Psychana.
There's a whole section on Psychana, and it's got relics in it for people to use. There's a load of war gear and additional rules and bits and bobs that can be adopted by existing forces, predominantly legions, but I'm confident there was some stuff for militia, solar, and other things as well in there as well. And they're essentially bringing everyone into the kind of the start of the middle of the heresy. Does that kind of make sense?
People are starting to realise
that we're entering now. The idea is they're bringing all those legions sort of into that and giving them more esoteric weaponry and more kind of peculiar stuff to play with.
Primarchs have started reinstating their librariuses. People are realising they need the power of psychers is needed in this new war with these. They don't know they're demons or whatever, but they've realised the psychers are a useful weapon against it, and so these esoteric means are coming in. So cool. That's going to be good. Let's take a little break for an advert there then, and we will come back and cover demons.
Has your performance been letting you down recently? Have your bombs been jettisoned before your mission was complete? Do you find yourself accidentally rolling too early? Has your bag dropped its load before the game? Then Grayed Out Productions have the answer. Michael's handcrafted dice bags are a must-have for any tabletop gamer prone to spilling their pearlescent gaming A's before they're ready. Why not check out Grayed Out Dice Bags on Facebook, at their website at www.gradeoutproductions.com, or find them on Etsy. Grayed Out Productions are the only place where you can get the official Geno52 podcast dice bag. And Geno listeners can get 10% discount by entering Geno52, all in words, at the checkout in the Etsy store. Get control of your load today.
Welcome back. This is part 2 of our Weekender coverage, and we are going to go into Desmond's of the Ruinstorm. They're both sniggering because I made some bad jokes, and then we had to stop because my power lead was still in, and they told me not to make the same joke again. So I'm going to leave it at Desmond's of the Ruinstorm, and nobody else know what that means. So,
brilliant. Demons of the Ruinstorm.
What are Demons of the Ruinstorm, and why are they different to maybe our traditional 40k 4-god demon?
Right. Demons of the Ruinstorm are different from the 4 gods because they come from 6 different factions, and they are demons operating under their own auspices.
Yeah,
they're not summoned. They're not. They're not vassals. They're doing what they want to do because the Ruinstorm has pulled the veil so thin that it's kind of gossamer thin between the warp and reality, and they can actually break through.
So they don't require maybe one of the four chaos gods to break reality for them for an incursion. Correct. As we would know now. They're
warp entities doing their own thing.
So would it be sort of a good way to explain it that maybe these are the force you're going to build is probably going to be a large warp entity, so a large greater demon that has drawn smaller demons towards it, and it's broken through on its own accord rather than
just be that it was really thin and a swarm got through.
Yeah, okay. But it's not a right. Khorne has decided that we're going to attack this planet, and he's broken through, so all the Khorne demons go out from his empire.
Correct. Yeah. One thing Anoush said that I thought was really good is that Khorne, Slaanesh, Tzeentch, and Nurgle are not words that are used in this book.
Good.
You will quite obviously see that there is a Dominion of Chaos associated with Rot and Decay.
Yeah.
There is a Dominion of Chaos associated with Skulls and Blood. So it's not knowing the meta, you can draw your own conclusions, but they're not the 4 Chaos Gods acting in that way.
But I think that's very similar to the rules in the rulebook for summoning demons at the moment. When you summon a demon using malefic powers, you give them a rule, and one of them's like rage, one of them's feel no pain, one of them's something, and you can quite clearly see where that rule's aligned to, but it's not
extra boobs. Oh,
yeah, the titty harp rule. If you want to hear
summoner or the demon choosing that one?
I like to play the titty harp.
But the idea is that you'll pick a Dominion, and there's 6 of them, so we're going to get something different from the 4 kind of stereotypes we normally associate.
So we might actually get a Malal provenance.
You'll apply that to your army, and you'll have an opportunity to apply it at unit level, as I understand it.
That's cool. So I think the comparison has been made sort of similar to how you would take your provenances in the militia list. You'll build a theme through your Dominion, and you go, okay, that's cool. So my Dominion gives me X, Y, and Z rules.
But that doesn't mean that everything under that has to be of that Dominion.
Oh, cool. So you don't have to. So it's not like an army-wide then.
It's a bit of both, from what I understand.
Okay.
From what I understand.
All right, cool. That's cool. So you've still got the ability to say you don't have to sort of go, right, my Dominion is, not quote unquote not Nurgle's Dominion, so I'm going to use all the Nurgle models. You'll be so cool. Well, the core of my army, my warlord and my core, a couple of units are going to be Nurgle-esque, but then I might throw in some Slaaneshi type units as well. You can create a bigger mix of a flavour.
There was also a good point made that because of that, you can use what models you want. So let's say you take Bloodletters as a model to use your lesser demons. Now, normally, if someone put Bloodletters on the table, you'd look at them and go, right, I know roughly what Bloodletters do. This is a Khorne army, and I know how it's going to behave.
It's going to run at me and chop at me.
These are a generic lesser demon that you can then apply the provenances, the dominions to.
Oh, cool.
So you will never quite know what your enemy's doing when they deploy. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh. So these dominions could be changeable between games as well and stuff.
Correct.
Oh, that's cool. So I did see a comment. I think there was a comment in one of the groups where Anuja was quoted as saying, "Don't break this. This is supposed to be for flavour and fun. Don't be a whacker."
Absolutely.
Which gives me credence that he must have realised that there's an opportunity for abuse in here somewhere.
Oh, there is, and there definitely is. But I think the idea is that no one knows what demons are in the narrative setting of this, and as a result, they wanted demon armies and demon host armies to act unpredictably, so that your opponent is almost getting that experience of not knowing what they're facing.
That's awesome. So yeah, that unknown, are these Xenos? What are these? Are these warp creatures? What? Very much. What's in the? It's in the first book, isn't it? Horus Rising, where
exactly, yeah, when
Jubal
goes, yeah,
and they're just blasting him with bottles, like, what the fuck is this, and absolutely annihilating him, and then they're like, I don't know what the fuck that was, Yeah.
Exactly like that. That's the idea. And then that's further built upon by demons will start strong. They will be better in turn 1 than they are in turn 6, for example. They get weaker as the game goes on.
Yeah.
And the reason behind that is because the idea is that your army is learning to deal with them.
Yeah, and I think some of the other context I think I've heard was, they breach through, and the longer they spend in reality, they struggle as well.
Correct.
They did draw their power from the Immaterium. So if when they're out of the Immaterium, they're not, they're not creatures that can exist forever in the in real space.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Which is great. It's so flavourful.
And the kind of the flip side of that is that there is also a separate set of rules for summoned demons as part of other lists, and they are the weaker version.
Yeah.
But they don't have the disadvantages of getting weaker.
So they won't be as strong, but they'll stay around better.
Correct. Now, it's a full army list, and it's designed to be your primary detachment. There's nothing to say you can't take it as an allied detachment, and they're saying that's cool, but it's designed to be a primary detachment operating on its own.
Yeah. I mean, there's some cool, flavourful things. You know, if you've got a word bearer's army and you want to take an allied demon host, you know, there's some cool scope in there narratively to do that. But yeah,
but they were saying they would rather you took the appropriate units and used the summon demons rules.
Yeah.
For that, rather than taking an allied detachment, you know, it's not like let me call my bannerman and one of them's a bloodthirster. You know, it's like
call the banners. It's Kabanda.
yeah, exactly. But the army deploys and has objectives in a different way as well, which adds to that unpredictability. It seems that you have 3 portals the size of large blast templates that you deploy through.
Yeah.
I think that it's randomised what comes out of which one.
That's amazing. And in it, they're going to, you know, say you're playing your opponent and they roll up War of Lies. You go, okay, cool. Well, I'm demon, so I'm doing something totally different. And you're
correct.
It's
you have your own objective. Yeah.
Asymmetrical mission design. I think that's so cool. You know, something I've tried to play with a bit before at events. You know, looking at trying to do some asymmetrical missions and stuff. So people are playing. You're not trying to compete over. You're not competing against each other. Because one of the things with Titanicus, when you draw your cards and you draw your missions, you don't have to tell your opponent what you're doing. Now, some missions are obvious. The retrieval one, when you put the head down in the middle, okay, I know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But you are, you know, if you're thinking, you know, not adding to that thing of not understanding what you're fighting by not knowing what the hell they're trying to achieve as well, it's a great kind of, you know, flavourful thing for this idea that the legions don't know what these demons are.
Yeah, that's it. So, like, you will have your mission. You might be going out to recover ground or to control objectives, and the demons will be doing their own thing. And the idea is it's supposed to be disorientating. So.
Yeah, that sounds really good fun. Sounds really, really good fun. I mean, I think to start with, when people get him on the table at the very beginning, I think people are going to be. It might feel a bit. I don't want to use the word overpowered because I'm not saying that. People might struggle because they don't know what they're fighting. And as players play more demon lists, they might get used to, okay, I know they might be doing 1 of 4 things now, and I don't know what they're doing, but they might be doing this. And it'd be a nice experience for a player to feel like they might be getting more of a handle on demons as well, the more they're exposed to them, to kind of add to that as well.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things Neil was saying is that they're not anticipating a shift in the meta. Now, I thought, if I'm honest, I thought that was quite naive, but what they're saying is that you're not going to have to tailor armies to deal with demons.
No. But you're going to have to learn what they do.
Correct, yeah. And that will inevitably mean that you prefer some units to fight demons over others, but it's not going to be like fighting...
I need to take 3 Medusas now because I've got to deal with custos with 3 up rerollable invuns. You know,
exactly.
I've now got to chop 300 points out my army to put this one unit in just in case I come across demons. It will just be, I might add that to a unit. I might take my annihilators... because I might hit demons at some point, you know, rather than like I must have that unit because if I don't have them, I've lost the game before I've deployed.
Yeah, correct. So I think they're going to slot in quite well. One of the things they did stress is they view demons like militia and solar auxilia that they are a secondary army in the heresy.
Yeah, the heresy is still about the legions.
Correct. Yeah, and they will get the appropriate amount of support. So they will get models, they will get a full range.
But we're not going to be getting a release every week for them. Correct.
And they're saying that's not to say that they're only a minor part of the heresy. They are a major part, but they're part of the setting and the background of the heresy, not the subject of it.
Yeah. With that, we'll ask the question. I know you've got it down there. Because they are getting a whole range of models.
They are.
Is there any context on that? Are they going to be getting, units of 5 troop choices, or?
It seems there are for example, there are 3 troops choices from what I recall, and there was a lot to take in. So forgive me.
Yeah.
But there were 3 troops choices. There were lesser demons, there were brutes, and there were swarms.
And the thing on Sanguinius's display base was a brute, wasn't it?
It's a brute. Yeah. And it's massive.
Yeah, it's chunky as fuck.
That is I mean, that's on Sanguinius's base. It doesn't take a genius to work out that's probably a model range, you know. Yeah. And they were quite open-lipped about that being a brute.
It's I imagine it's going to be, your lesser demons are going to be, tack marine, your brute might be more like Terminator, slower and tougher.
I thought that brutes were more Ogryn level.
Yeah, that kind of you've got your baseline model, a big tough model, and then a smaller, faster model. That kind of range.
Yeah, indeed. But I was unclear whether we're going to get models for lesser demons because there are a boatload out there in plastic.
Yeah,
but maybe we'll get upgrade kits. But I'm only speculating. They were really quite tight-lipped on what's being released. You think
about how much good stuff's been dropped for AOS lately in terms of demons and stuff like that. Why would they want to compete with?
Correct.
That stunning model range.
It's only an opinion, but I'm of the opinion that upgrade kits would be safe money.
Oh yeah, if you could get head swaps for bloodletters and alternative weapons.
I was thinking if you could get an alternate arm to replace the sword or something like that, it would just make them feel.
Yeah, like they do with Necro and with the heads and the weapon upgrades and stuff. Those packs of upgrades would be absolutely brilliant. To be able to merge with the GW plastics and stuff.
Sounds like something that might well be a bit of a luxury. So it's on their blue sky thinking to do lists, but. If they actually get time to get around to doing it, will be another matter, won't it?
Indeed, it's resource dependent, But they are working on a model range now that will be released, so there is stuff coming.
Will Samus and Corblacks actually get rules, and will Samus be able to do anything?
I think they're in it.
I'm hoping they'll get some updated rules because they're not.
It'd be odd if they weren't.
Yeah, it would be weird if not, because Samus is a stunning model.
Pretty confident they're in it. But
Samus is a bit fucking useless in the narrative and in the games.
But Commander's getting a model, that's confirmed.
And that's cool.
It's sort of 6. I think they said it was 60 or 70% done in terms of.
Oh wow!
And I took that to be 67% from concept to release, not sculpting.
Yeah, that says to me that they've got it sculpted. It's in final tweaks before it goes for the production molds and things.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, Demons is not a range where you're going to go, oh, there's nowhere I can go and get models. I mean, I love the Meus miniature stuff, third party stuff as well. Meus miniatures is stuff. I've always wanted an excuse to buy some Meus miniature centerpieces and. You look at Beast.
There's a huge range of Games Workshop stuff as well. Yeah. Massive range.
You look at the new Beastmen range as well. That's just come out for Sigmar. There's Beastmen. The Nurgle stuff that's come out over the last year or so for AOS.
Wheeler sent me a big thing earlier that was like it was something out of Pacific Rim, and it had a portal on its back, and it's something from Age of Sigmar somewhere.
Oh yeah, the Age of Sigmar range will get plundered for it, as well as the 40k range. There is so much good stuff for Demons. So it's not one, if the book drops and there's no real model support for it, I don't think there's going to be I can't make this army. There's going to, there's very much shitloads of, you said Ogryns, there's still the idea, these demons breaking through from reality, but they can still be possessing flesh and things as well. So
it's funny you say that. There's unit entries for possessed Marines and for possessed militia.
Oh, that's amazing.
And the idea behind them is that they're not possessed as in Gal Vorbak possessed. Yeah. This is like, I'm going to use the austerity version again, where it's like, this isn't a honed
blended union
ritual thing. This is a demon's got through and is in your skin.
There's a demon inside you.
Yeah, exactly.
Mind zombie type level rather than.
Yeah, I love it. Yes. They're riding you like a flesh sack.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wicked. That's really cool.
Wearing like a flesh sack.
Riding you like a flesh sack.
Riding
your flesh sack.
Like
that would be something else.
I didn't say that. Your mind went there. That's amazing. That's awesome. So the demons list, it sounds like it's going to be a really full-on, flavoursome, unique thing. It's not just going to be, I'll pick up my 40. I mean, it sounds like you will be able to take your 40k Sigmar demons army and say, cool, I'm away.
They've done it that way intentionally because they recognise that there is people out there that have demon armies.
Yeah.
And they wanted you to be able to buy plastic kits.
And some people won't want to or have the skill to
go nuts
with it, but they want to buy stuff off the shelf. But and the fact that you can do both is great.
But you listen to the descriptions in the books, there are clearly points where they describe a bloodletter. They don't know what it is, but they clearly describe that. We all know as being experienced in the world. So there's nothing to say. You can't just use a squad of bloodletters. But what nice thing is you might be able to use them in a different way to the way they play in 40k and Sigmar now. So it's great. It's going to be a real opportunity for people to create something and hopefully bring something really different to. Well, they say they're not talking about changing the meta. I hope it shakes it up. You know, it makes it not in terms of...
I think it will change the meta in terms of we're going to see demon armies, and people are going to feel that that we're going to see very different sorts of armies going forward with the Psi Arcana and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not going to change the meta in that you're going to need to tailor to combat.
No, that's right. But it might mean that when you drop your army down on the table at an event and someone drops a demon army, you go, "Oh, cool! I don't know what this does." Rather than
exactly.
Oh, here's my 30 Inducti and Garland Surlac, and I know exactly what this army's going to do for the next 2.5 hours.
The meta's going to change anyway, isn't it? Because there's so many changes here. We've got 2 new legions. We've got a rewrite on the Custodes list. We've got
a whole new army faction.
A large FAQ with lots of tweaks. The meta's going to change anyway.
Absolutely.
So it's going to be quite hard to pinpoint which was the trigger for what. So it's just going to be different.
I think it's what everyone's been crying out for. The whole heresy scene's been crying out for a little while.
I think it's a nice little refresh, isn't it?
Yeah. It's going to push us
people
all on.
Talking about rules and builds and interactions rather than what hasn't been released. It's going to make a big difference to the community.
So we'll slide on them from demons because I think we've did we cover everything you wanted to cover with that, Pete?
I think so.
Yeah, I think we kind of skipped around
about to it, to be honest.
So the big thing that I think a lot of people weren't expecting but has been quite welcomely opened is Custodes are going to get a new army list.
Yeah, that's right. So and I thought it said on the page Talons, but no one else seems to think that, so I think I'm wrong.
Well, I'll point this. This is just what I've seen when I was flicking around on the internet. Somebody posted and said, "Sisters of Silence jet bikes are coming." Okay. So I thought initially, Talons are getting an updated list, but everything I've seen after that has referenced Custodes getting an updated list.
That could just be a future unit.
Neil and Nuge were about Custodes being in this book, not Talons. So I think I was just wrong on that.
Right,
so
I'm just looking through my slides.
I heard that as well, Tom, but it doesn't mean it's part of this update, does it? It could just be a new unit.
No, it's not.
So it says on the slides. It says on the slides also rules for using demonology, new consoles and units, full Legio Custodes army update. Yeah. So they're getting an update. So those Sister of Science jet bikes might be. Yeah, the units coming in, they'll get a PDF of rules.
Or a Book 9 thing.
Yeah, Book 9 thing. So, it's the Custodes rule list, the Custodes army list, the Legio Custodes that are getting an update.
Yeah, that's right. And it's got all of their new units in it that have come out since Book 7.
Yeah.
Jump Boys and Telemon Dreads and...
You'll forgive me, I don't know
Onion
what they all
Dropships.
Yeah. It'll be the Hawkmen and some other stuff, I guess.
Hawkmen and the Onion Dropship.
They're nice, I do like those.
They are very nice.
Those models are absolutely stunning.
Yeah, they looked amazing. I am getting weak at the knees for Custodes. I'm starting to really crumble. My hatred for them is lessening because they've become less of a moaning point in the community.
What we're going to talk about now should have.
So hopefully with this, we're going to see demons and Custodes everywhere.
One thing I thought was interesting is that Neil said that he doesn't want Custodes players to feel they've got to go and buy this book when the Custodes take no part in the book.
Yeah.
So they're looking at it, publishing all of the Custodes rules and updates as a PDF.
So with this, does this tie into maybe a little admission that they knew they got it quite wrong in Book 7? I'm not no blame.
It wasn't them, was it?
No, I think because they released it for free.
I think your wording's wrong. I think they're saying that they were quite keen to say we're not infallible.
Yeah.
And we can't always perceive, even with playtesting, how something's going to act.
Yeah, that's probably a more fair description. They didn't anticipate what the Custodes rules they wrote, the impact, the size of the impact it would have on the community. Yeah, rather than getting it wrong, they didn't.
Indeed,
to get that.
I think Neil said at one point that there were some examples there of playtesting not reflecting like their learning curve, not
what they've seen
reality of the feedback.
Well, you think about it when they put playtesting in, they might play. If they play 50 games, you instantly release that book to the 5,000-6,000 heresy players. Who are instantly going to, got 5,000-6,000 people looking at it who will see those. I mean, how many times do you hear somebody say to you, yeah, but have you thought about doing this with a Space Marine list? Because it'll do X. And you think, fuck, I've never even spotted that interaction. You put it out to 5,000 or 6,000 people who suddenly go, well, shit, if you do that. And then you go, oh, crap, I never saw that. Oh, I wouldn't think to do that. It's always going to be stuff when they drop new stuff. It happens
with every
but it just happened to be a little more. And I think there were some, there were some quality issues with the list that came out. There were spelling mistakes, weapons with no profiles.
Yes.
Weapons warging
like
with no rules. Yeah,
that's gone. That's just completely removed.
Yeah, I think there was some. I mean, the FAQ, doesn't it? They FAQ'd it. This has no effect at all whatsoever for the musical. Yeah. And it's not a blame. Like I said, I'm not criticising because I mean they produced 8 books now of an entire game. So I couldn't produce half of one book. But I think what they've done really well is they've recognised that and gone. This has not gone down the way we thought it was going to go. There are things we need to sort. Right, we've done an FAQ, that's patched it. No, let's put some book space aside and get it right this time. And I think that's a really positive reaction from the Forge team to say, let's get it right.
Neil stressed that nothing they produce will ever be perfect.
No.
And if you give them the correct feedback in the correct way,
yes,
they will deal with it
100%.
correctly.
Yes, if you explain and talk and feedback to them like a grown-up, they will listen. If you scream and whinge and shout in the comment section, you won't get listened to. But you have to accept that these things
take... said that they will still take on board everything, even if you're ranting crazy, but...
Yeah, but how much credence? I mean, you Pete, have you ever been in a? You must have been in a meeting with a client once, and you think the client who's talking to you sensibly and giving you a bollocking, you feel much worse about than the guy who's screaming and shouting. You can think, well, he's a dickhead, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
His points might be completely
valid. The pre-context of every client's an arsehole, though, don't you?
Yeah, but the guy who's screaming and shouting, you might think, well, actually, everything he said is 100% right, but he's a dickhead, and I don't want to deal with him.
Absolutely, you're quite right. We ought to be civil human beings.
You will always pay more attention and respect to the person who's treating you like an adult, regardless of how valid the point is. Just the way you quote. And this is a point I've made on the podcast a couple of times about the whirling neckbeards in the bottom half of the internet. That the internet community very poorly reflects the actual real world community for heresy, because the real world heresy community is fucking brilliant. It's some of the best people I've ever met in my life. But there are just certain sections of the internet that represent it so poorly in the way they interact with people and the company. But anyway, that's a complete rant for another day.
But that's like sort of pulling you back onto a course. That kind of wraps up book 8 with the custodes list at the end, essentially. Yeah. So you've got White Scars, Blood Angels, you've got Demons, you've got loads of additional stuff for all legions, which I think is fantastic, including the Arcana, Relics and War Gear, and then you've got the Custodes lists in there as well. That's a huge amount of stuff in one book, I think.
That book is going to be huge for the heresy scene in a really positive, really fantastic way. I think there's going to be loads of excited people with new armies, loads of... because sometimes it happens when these new army books drop, and if they're not your legions, you're like, wow... It's cool, but there's nothing really in there for me. With all the additional stuff in there, with all the Legion stuff and all the Psychana stuff, I think most players are going to have a reason to go, well, yeah, that's an exciting book for me. I think the only people who maybe aren't getting anything in there are mech and humans, aren't they?
But they'll get their time.
Yeah, and that's to say they're not sure. I mean, the only people who maybe could be justified in going, we haven't had a lot of the human players. They haven't had much, but... This isn't about humans, is it? It's not really.
No, that's the point. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just the chaff that get. They're the chaff that get away. So yeah, but those people will be happy when book 9 comes around, which is a nice professional segue into. We got some details. Is it Crusade? Is the working title? Is it now? Not Angelus.
Right. The question was asked: is it going to be Angelus? Because there was talk of pushing Angelus to book 9, and they said that they think that Crusade, which is their working title, would be more appropriate for what they want to cover.
Yeah, because this kind of chronologically, the main focus of this goes back from where we are. Maybe it's going back to the Thramas Crusade, which happens early, just after. It's where the Night Lords go after Istvan, really, isn't it? To tie up the Dark Age.
So they were saying that they wanted the Thramas Crusade to pick up from literally the Tales of Istvan.
Yeah.
With the Dark Angels fleet getting muddled up with the Night Lords.
Yeah.
Right through to the start of the War on the 500 Worlds.
Oh, cool. So it's going to cover that range between Kauth. So basically, while Lorgar's pouncing around, what the Night Lords and Dark Angels were smacking the crap out of each other in Thramas.
Yeah, correct.
Cool.
So it will take you right up to the start of Imperium Secundus, if you will.
Yeah. So it takes you almost to where book 5 kicks off. Then,
correct.
Yeah, with Kauth.
But the thing that. I mean, fantastic for Dark Angels and Night Lords players. Dark Angels will get their full work up like every other Legion with all their stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about them a little bit more in a minute. But Night Lords are going to get extra units and rules in there as well.
Yeah.
Much to the disappointment of a lot of people, they're not getting Atramentar, but this is the same thing as Sanguinary Guard. They are just a named version of a command squad.
Yeah, they're a Terminator armed.
Yeah, they are not different enough to warrant their own unit.
Yeah.
That said, Neil said he's got a fantastic idea for a very unique Night Lord's Terminator unit that he wants to do.
Yeah, have they got a Legion-specific Terminator unit at the moment? They haven't, have they?
No, I don't think not yet.
Because they've got the Raptors and they've got Terror Squads, and most Legions have a Terminator specific unit, don't they? That seems to be the general sort of layout of the units. They get one power armor type unit, one Terminator unit, and X other thing. So yeah, the Night Lords. There's scope for the Night Lords to have a Terminator specialist Terminator unit within the general structure of how they structure a Legion's special unit. So that'd be cool.
So. And then additionally, there'll be Dark Mechanicum. Now, Neil was really keen to say this is not Chaos Mechanicum.
Yeah.
He's saying that actually the lines between what the Mechanicum do and what Dark Mechanicum do are so blurred that it's almost unquantifiable. So there will be Loyalist Mechanicum items using... Loyalist Mechanicum forces using forbidden tech for the right reasons, and there'll be Dark Mechanicum forces that won't touch forbidden tech for the right reasons.
It's like the what's the story set on Mars with the Forge Lord with the trainee tech marines?
It's called
Cybernetica.
Oh yeah,
where they unleash the robots from the vaults for the Tech Heresy vaults, which have got the
Vaults of Moravec.
No, not the Vaults of Moravec. It's basically the Mechanicum Inquisition.
Okay.
It starts off set very early in the Crusade where there's a Magos who's created an AI basically. I can't remember what they call it, but
it's the Caban machine.
Not the Caban machine. No, this is another, which is it's basically Castellax.
You're reading a parallel heresy.
No, Cybernetica. It's a fucking brilliant book. It's
that's the one with the Raven Guard dude.
No. Yes. Where they're in the tower.
Yeah.
I think it might be two stories that merge in Cybernetica.
It's not in Book 9 anyway.
No. But sorry, what I'm trying to say, there's a Magos that creates a Castellax cohort that have an AI in it, an artificial intelligence, and it's banned because AI is banned. And then it gets released. I'm sure it gets released in Cybernetica because he's trying to march it to the southern pole to destroy the power station at the southern pole on Mars. And it's this stinking cohort because it's picked up again in a recent book. I think it's in the Heralds of the Siege book.
I believe you.
It's picked up again. This story of the stinking machine in the So sorry, what I'm trying. It's forbidden tech. It's not chaos tech. It's not a warp entity.
No,
it's a thinking machine which is banned by the Mechanicum. So this is I think the difference Neil's trying to talk about is this is not demons being rammed into machines. This is.
But that may be part of it.
But this may be other things as well. A metal demon. No more metal demons, please.
Is it the thing that's killing thralls that are connected into it? It's a short story in Heralds of Siege.
It's the one where the Titans are walking around and then they've got a thinking machine that starts taking over and it starts blowing. It starts annihilating.
Might have been you're getting that and
Cybernetica model. No, because it starts in Cybernetica. Because it starts because the cohort of robots that's marching to the pole gets destroyed.
Is that before or after the Thramas Crusade?
At the same time. Right, Thramas Crusade. All right. Let's talk about Thramas. Fucking Dark Angels players. I just like the fact Killer's got to wait another year.
So they said there's going to be some Imperial Army stuff in there as well.
Yeah, that's cool. Nice little update. I guess additional units, additional things like that. More.
Haven't clarified, but they said that they had a few ideas that they thought, or a few things that may well cross over into Solar Auxiliary and fulfill both roles.
Oh, that's cool. Kind of like those.
Anush was very wary about promising that though, because he said, "I promised you'd get Alpha Legion and Space Wolf stuff in Book 8, which never happened."
Yeah. That's fair. No, that's fair enough. I don't think anybody blames him for how they've rejigged the books around because there is so much stuff in Book 8. But not committing to things. But that's cool. So very much like the strike tanks that came out, the little tanks that came out that have got different options in militia and solo, depending where you take them and stuff. That's quite cool.
And then there'll be some coverage of the Titan Legios because there's quite a lot they want to do with them still apparently. So
yeah, well this is the high point of Titans, isn't it? Through the heresy before the Titan death. So now's the time to really. This is a scope to really explore them and look at the background, because after Titan death, they're all pretty knackered, aren't they?
Yeah, that's it. One thing that was talked about quite a lot was the Dark Angels themselves, being kind of the main point of that book, I suppose. That they, from a narrative perspective, they follow the Principia Bellicosa, and they are a legion, because there's been a lot of speculation about the first legion, each company being a fully operational army and that kind of thing. And they were saying, we're very keen to stay on that they are a legion. They're the prototype that everyone else was built from. So that sticks. But within that, they have wings. Now, that's a bit like Raven, is it Raven Wing and...
the Iron Wing and the Dread Wing and the Death.
He's saying, rather than them being separate formations, you will have a number of people across the entire chapter that are trained in the use of Terminator armor, for example, and they may form a wing. Now, that doesn't mean they all get together and go into battle together, but it's representative of that level of training.
I think it's at the start of Angels of Caliban where they form the Dreadwing, and they are fighting as a Legion would. And I think the Lion then makes the decision, I want the Dreadwing.
Correct.
And he does talk about various members of units leave units to come and join under into the Dreadwing formation. They are leaving their other units, and the wing comes out of the army as a formation within it, rather than, okay, well, the Dreadwing run around in this strip and they all drop down and they're the Dreadwing. Correct. It's almost like it's circles within circles, isn't it? Which is very Dark Angels.
And then there's a further circle, which is orders, which is a terminology we're more familiar with as well, if you see what I mean. And then the idea is that is representative of rank and knowledge. So you might have somebody who is he said it's unlikely this way around, but not impossible. You might have somebody who is a praetor, but is a lower order to a line sergeant, because the sergeant might be privy to a security clearance and knowledge that he isn't.
But he might be
through circumstance and experience. So, and the idea was that Dark Angels can look at each other and they can read all this iconography and know exactly who's in front of them and where they stand and how they fall into the Legion hierarchy, the wings and the orders. No one else has a fucking clue.
I love it. That's
and
so good.
It's really important that they convey that in it. They're really keen to keep that.
There sounds like there's going to be some really interesting rules from there that you're very kind of similar. Whereas the Space Wolves, you take the unique flavour of the Space Wolves from the way the army's built with the restrictions and the units and the way that creates that flavour. The Dark Angels sound like they might be more put together in a traditional way, as in you'll have your units and your typical unit, but the way those units work and the rules within that Legion that's where that flavour will come from. You line your army up on the table and think, okay, that looks like a Legion, but the way it operates on the table will be the flavourful thing with it.
Yeah, I think that's my understanding, but it's kind of speculation at the moment.
I very much doubt Anuj and Neil have got a huge grip on it, exactly what it's going to happen.
Well, no, they said actually that Book 9 is well on its way. They've had most of the material written alongside Book 8.
Oh, that's good then. That's good. Yeah, I was going to say, because they made a start on it before they made the decision to bump it, hadn't they? So they must have been working on stuff. So cool.
They're expecting to have it. They're saying they would like to be in the same position that they're talking about that book, and it is available to at least pre-order at the next Weekender.
Excellent. That's fantastic. That's their aim. Let's be clear on that. It's an aim. That is the project goal, and anybody who's worked in projects will know it's always a lofty goal. But no, I think with the shake-up we're going to get with Book 8, I don't think... it's been 2 years. You started our Skype conversation the start of the night with, can you believe it was, March 2017 we had our last Skype call to record. That's when Book 7 dropped. It's nearly 2 years since we've had a black book, and the black books are what move the meta on, really, in a big way. So, or at least the environment we work within. So, I think getting this book will give us the kick we need. If we can get
they were also very clear that we should be expecting this. This has been an anomaly.
Yeah. This is not the way.
Books will be coming out quicker than this break.
Yeah. But then we all, without going over the ground that's been trodden 100 times, we all know why that is. They had an unexpected year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a minor gripe, but I did hear somebody at the weekend saying, well, they can't keep blaming logistical options, and it was sort of, well, they can.
Well, this is so there's
it's been extenuating circumstance.
So there's two very different things there. One is what we were talking about was the death of Alan Bligh.
Absolutely.
You cannot plan for that. Two,
it's an actual logistic problem.
The reason the book wasn't there is because it's in British customs somewhere, and if anybody shipped anything to any country, you know that it doesn't matter. You can send the same thing 10 times. 9 times it'll go through. The 10th, customs will just take it and disappear for a week. And with the current political environment in the UK, we haven't had Brexit yet, but the ports are not in a good state at the moment with uncertainty. 3 pallets of books stuck somewhere that nobody gives a shit about because some customs official hasn't bothered reading the paper yet. That is completely within the bounds of the real world at the moment. So, yeah, the only thing that annoyed me is I think on the stream they could have said that. Tony could have said that on the stream. We wanted the book to be here. It is stuck in a logistics problem.
Let's be honest, he's evasive at best, isn't he?
I know, but sometimes it
I don't
led
see
to a
any
few days
constructive reason for it. A bit like that little. What I said earlier about why didn't they just say it's going to be Necromunda as well?
The only thing I can hope is at that point at the stream they were still hoping it would be there. Maybe. But they got banners printed on with pre-orders, and that would have taken at least 24 hours to do. Yeah. So
you probably wouldn't have rules in these programs either. If they
you'd have probably made that decision. The book wasn't coming before the stream. I know Tony is elusive, and I know the issues like we just mentioned with the news saying about committing to saying you want Space Wolves and Alpha Legion. You don't want to always commit, but I think when you know something's like that and you know the impact that's going to have and the reaction it's going to garner, just going it won't be there is not good enough. It should have been. The book was supposed to be there. It won't be there. There is a supply issue. You don't have to say what. There is a supply issue.
That level of communication would be welcomed by the community.
And you can pre-order and if you're at the event, you can pre-order it there. You'll get an exclusive pre-order. The community would have gone, well, that's shit. Okay, fine. Rather than going, well, that's shit. They're fucking shit. Here's 2 days of bitching on the internet.
Just seems there's a little bit of avoidable PR.
Yeah, that's the
PR issue. Something, which you don't see from all. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a Forge World or GW or specialist games thing as a whole.
No,
it tends to happen most
managing
from
your clients,
the heresy side, and I don't think that's coming from the rules writers either. No. It's coming from whatever management decision about what goes out.
There was a little bit of managing
released.
Clients' expectations there that could have been done better to achieve, to have just avoided 2 days of internet whinging that nobody's going to be asked to look at. So, shall we slowly slide into Adeptus Titanicus then?
Absolutely.
This is kind of the last big thing that really... Oh no, we've got shitloads more to do. There we go. Adeptus Titanicus. Yeah, fucking listen to me. Right, Titanicus. What did we get for Titanicus then?
Okay, so this was kind of rounded up in a single seminar, reveal seminar and future of Adeptus Titanicus. So I'll kind of rattle through this if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it.
It kind of flows quite well. So Reaver and Warlord weapon sprues will be released soon.
Is that the ones they've already?
Plastic counterparts.
Is that the ones they've already shown, or additional ones?
So we've had a second Reaver, we've had a second Warlord. Yeah. Within those kits are weapon sprues. Yeah. They will be released soon.
Cool. So it's not the additional weapons so far. It's just the weapons we've already seen so far.
Additional weapons will be resin for the most part. They don't have any. Don't have any plans. That's not fair. I put words in the mouth. They don't anticipate another plastic weapon sprue.
That's fine. That's
Makes
cool.
Sense, doesn't it? Yeah. You wouldn't. The others are part of a kit. It costs a lot to tool and machine.
Correct. Doesn't it? So, and that's based on the plastic production line that other kits will take up. If you see what I mean.
That's thing to produce those kits. It's the expense of doing it and the knock-on effect into plastic production. So, which is fine. I think what we were all expecting was resin upgrades for these additional weapons. Anyway, I think that's kind of what the community was geared up for anyway. So
absolutely. So they previewed a Warlord Quake cannon, which is like the one on the Titan Will's just done.
The Warbringer.
And it's got a box mag on the back essentially.
Yeah.
A Gatling cannon, which is huge, looks amazing, and Carapace Gatling blasters, which look wicked. And then for the Reaver, a Carapace Mega Bolter and a Warp missile, and both of them look superb.
Yeah, they look insane.
They've got Blake back on board.
Yeah.
He's been there since before Christmas, and he's working his way through all of the weapons.
Yeah, that's wicked. So we should hopefully see these at a reasonable pace as well, shouldn't we?
I think, didn't they? might have been on the stream. They said that he'd only been there a couple of weeks and he'd already finished a couple of them. He's working. He's really fast working.
I imagine there's some pressure because while you're talking about the Warlord weapons, they were also originally on the first day on the Saturday they were previewed as 28mm scale weapons for the full size Warlord. So I imagine there's a level of those projects where he is designing them for 28mm and Titanicus simultaneously because they are scaled down versions. Now I know
it was quite an interesting bit where on the first day people were saying, will we see some of this like AT stuff? Will we see some of the 30k 28mm scale stuff, for Titans transfer to AT?
Yeah.
And Tony was sort of like, well, we can't just press a button. And I think it was Darren Parwood or Will said, well, we can. It's the scale button. It's on the toolbar ribbon at the top.
Yeah, but when was the last time Tony touched CAD design?
In fact, anything we've drawn digital, Tony, we can just scale it and sell it.
Yeah. Shows you what
he wasn't keen on that.
You see the level of interaction he has
Tony
between
using the reduced percentage on the photocopier and wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wonder how much he has to do with the actual production. Then the nuts and bolts.
Oh no, I think he knows full well.
He's just being ambiguous. Cool.
But, there was new buildings as well.
Yeah.
So we've seen a whole. They're all over the internet. You can quite easily
find
of
spires and stuff, isn't there? Lots
Correct.
to get away from just being boxy.
And they're the simple start of more buildings. So there's going to be more buildings that aren't based on a square module.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's quite interesting. Yeah. They didn't define what that will be.
I mean, GW Prime has been smashing scenery out left, right, and centre. Yeah. And actually, the amazing thing they've been doing is the versatility of it. So did you see the new Gene Stealer Cult scenery, which was the drill?
Yeah.
Which is basically the it's one of the kits that came out for the scenery.
Budget termites coming this way.
Yeah. But it's essentially
it's
the
not
round
a heresy termite. Yeah,
but it's
going to happen.
The core of that model. The core of that model is a piece of scenery that already came out.
Yeah.
I've got them for as part of the Sector Mechanica stuff, which they've essentially put a drill end on. And you think, oh, that's a bit lazy. You think, no, that's exactly how the Imperium would build stuff. Yeah. You'd have set patterns, and you just ram that together, put a drill end on it. Great, it
always amuses me actually when people criticise things for looking too similar. If anyone who's ever worked in design, that's how design works.
Yes, pick that up, pop that in there, stick something else on top. Brilliant, done.
Yeah. But so there's a lot more new buildings to come. Anyway,
yeah, that's brilliant.
Which is cool. Andy Hall was quite open about the fact that they built up what they thought was going to be a year's stock of Adaptus Titanicus, and it sold in less than 30 days.
That's insane. Titanicus has been well bought.
So they said they are genuinely still reeling from that.
Yeah.
So
what he said on the stream was
the Grandmaster kit's coming back.
He did say on the stream with the GME, he was like, if it sells, we might reprint it. There was a genuine we don't know if this is actually going to sell, and what is it sold out?
Was very specific. It is coming back. There was a
slide. Oh no, sorry. When he originally announced the GME, sorry, this pre-August, when he was like, oh, we've made 10,000 boxes and we don't know if it's all going to sell. They didn't anticipate that they would sell the GME out that quickly, and so yes, I can fully believe that they didn't anticipate how they've sold a year's stock straight away. I mean, somebody's getting a decent Christmas bonus off the back of that, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah.
Shareholders mainly.
But so the Grandmaster edition's coming back, which I think is good for everyone. I think I saw someone posting earlier saying that you can buy the battle group and the rules, and it works out cheaper.
Tom was saying this.
I was literally saying this in the intro. The one thing I'm really not interested with the Weekender is the GME coming back. You weren't privy to this conversation, Pete, when we recorded the intro, but I think the GME is a really poor way to get into the game at the moment. I don't think everything that it sold value with, it's a free Warlord and all this stuff. I think both me and Stu have sold our second Warlords off. There's a lot of that. For me, the value of there is a saving in the box, as in a monetary value. But I don't think if you want to get into the game, it's the right way to do it. I think the battle
standalone two-player starter set, it works. I think if you want to get in with an army, you'll probably get a better. I think
if you're just getting in on your own,
it just depends on your angle, doesn't it?
Yeah, the battle group box and the rules. We won't crack over this again because that was my 5-minute intro that turned into a half-an-hour rant. But GME's coming back. That's the thing.
It's all right. I timestamp it, Pete. You can skip straight to yourself. Unfortunately, all you hear is Tom for those 2 hours as well. But you'll.
So we've just had me and Stu have just taken the wrappings off our Titan Death supplements, and neither of us have probably read them. But now we've got a new supplement coming as well, haven't we?
Doom of Moloch, and this is the second supplement of many, many more. Essentially, Each supplement, like Titan Death and like Moloch, will be based around a campaign or a war zone, and it will bring more and more things to the game. So Doom of Moloch is going to centre itself around bringing knights in predominantly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There will still be Legio Titan stuff in there, of course, but the big thing they talked about was knights. So there's going to be rules for running knight-only lists. Now, I thought that was really interesting terminology, because I don't believe there's anything to stop you running knight-only lists now.
I think the way I think the if you read the rule book, and this is me trying to remember, it does say it should be, because there was a clarification. John Stanford has done a community FAQ, and he actually there's the wording of the way it says it's something like at least one battle group, one mana pool of Titans. To have a battle group, and he actually got the Oxford English Dictionary definition of what at least one means, and it means you have to have a mana pool. I'm making it sound sillier than it is, but
sounds like a bright spark.
There is some ambiguity to the ruling, but when you actually look at the way it's written you take it to a dictionary level, it makes perfect sense. You have to have a battle group for a matched play scenario. Right. That's the caveat. If you are doing an open play, no, there's absolutely nothing to stop you just taking all banners of knights. But if you are if I always look at it from my point of view, if I'm running an event, I'm trying to give some guidelines to people as to what to bring. You want 1750 points built using the match play scenario, so everybody turns up with a similar thing. You know what I mean? It gives you some structure to it. So I think if you're working in that environment, you need a Titan, you need a mana pool within your battle group. Yeah. If you're me and you, Pete, decide we're going to have a game, and I'm going to bring my 2 warlords, and you're just going to bring 8 banners of knights, fucking great, go for it.
It'd be like a standard game with you, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Crush, kill, destroy.
But so you're going to get knight household rules, and they're going to be the equivalent to Legio rules as well. So you will get named houses, so like Veroni will get a rule set, Malanax will get a rule set that brings their own take on how they run knights.
To give it flavour,
that was quite interesting, quite cool, and to go with that, there'll be knight stratagems and other things as well.
I think they showed a picture of a slide, didn't they, which was looked like the back of a card for knight stratagems.
There's more Titans coming. Andy Hoare said they've got a really nice design for a lightweight Titan, which coincidentally Guy Haley described something very similar and called it a rapier, so he's named it for them, which was helpful. I think I heard that on it. Which is going to be like lighter than a warhound, isn't it? Correct. And they want to fill in all the gaps. So they want to do one that's smaller than a warhound. They want to do one between warhound and reaver, one between reaver and warmonger, one between warmonger and.
I was going to say, isn't the warmonger the gap already? But no, that's not here, so we won't bring more. Yeah, no, that's really cool.
But these were want to.
Yeah, want to. This is the things that are on the whiteboard in the office of these are the things we'd like to do. The Imperator's still not thing, is it?
He said they could do it. They could easily do it, but it'd take a lot of someone's time.
Yeah.
Andy Hoare said they would like to do it eventually, but they need the game to have evolved enough.
The interesting thing
that it can handle it, because it's too big and it destroys Titans with shots.
This is the interesting thing that I can't remember. I heard it. I'm sure it was on a stream with Andy at one point or something. And he said about the Emperor. He said, "You think about how little your Warlord does on the table now," and I can vouch for that. I played a 5-turn game there. My Warlord moved 6 inches in that point because it's a shooting Titan. He said, correlate up how much bigger and slower an Imperator is. So let's take Moloch for example. The example, the Battle of Moloch. The Imperator is positioned at the centre of the defender's line. It never moves. It sits in the middle and just barrages. If a Warlord
and he used that example again in this seminar.
Yeah, if the Warlord is slow, the Imperator, you're literally going to put it in the corner of the and just start and just go, here's some dice that's dead, here's some dice that's... It's not going to add...
It's like taking a Warlord Titan in a 28mm game, isn't it?
It's not going to add any interest outside of a one-off sort of, let's have a crack at your Imperator, that was funny, okay, I don't want to do that again. Yeah,
correct.
So I would much rather have the other Titans than the Imperator at the moment.
But what he did say is that the rules we're playing under are the rules as they saw fit to release Adeptus Titanicus. There is a whole additional set of rules and more complication to the game and evolution of the game that they already loosely have mapped out that they want to implement.
Oh, that's awesome.
We are not yet playing Adeptus Titanicus as they wish us to play it.
They're feeding us in the intro.
Which I thought that was interesting. He's saying that doesn't mean you're going to get a new rule set next year. You're not. It's going to be a way off. But they want to start.
But they've got evolutions of the game in mind.
If it keeps growing, we keep buying it, and these supplements
if they're selling a year's worth of stock in a month, they're going. This game is not disappearing and going away anytime.
It's not a fad. No, agreed. There's more night patterns to come, more than those that we see in.
We're going to get Porphyrons. I want a banner of Porphyrons.
We will get everything that's at 28mm scale.
Just for my reputation.
But he said there is more as well.
That's wicked.
And they may well translate back the other way if the Heresy team see fit to do it.
Yeah.
Cool.
They want to look at corrupted titans. Now, he was really keen that these aren't Chaos Titans. There's corrupted titans and mutated titans that will later become Chaos Titans.
Similar to...
And as they work towards campaigns that are set close to the Siege of Terra, Chaos Titans are most certainly there. But they want to explore other things within that as well.
Similar to the difference between Demon Tech and Dark Tech with the Mechanicum,
There's also more options to come than we've seen. More weapons options, I mean. Yeah. So you've got cards for a select set of weapons. They've got a whole load more. And he gave one example of saying, and they're not necessarily stuff that was in it before. Some of them are, I'm completely backwards. Some of it is stuff that was in it before, like when they were getting the missile designed for the warp missile.
Yeah.
Blake designed like 8 or 9 missiles because Tony wasn't happy with the missile.
So they've all got a bunch of missiles.
So now they've got a load of missiles that they all think are great. So they're going to release, but they'll do like Melter missile and Plasma missile. And
that's amazing. Eat my Melter missile, dick.
So that'll all follow.
Yeah.
They want to do characters now. The question was asked, will these be princeps? And he's like, well, they will in that a Titan has a named princeps, but it will be the Titan that is the character. You don't move princeps around.
You might be able, what's the Mortis one, the really famous Mortis
Desiree.
One? Yeah, so you might be able to have specific rules for running Desiree or something like that, yeah.
That is one that he said will almost certainly get it.
Oh, God, yeah. So. But yeah, that makes sense. So, yes, it's a named princeps because the princeps is with the Titan, but the rule.
But it's the Titan. It will be.
Yeah, be the rules for the Desiree. Yeah.
It might have named crew with it, but they don't have any bearing on it.
Yeah. That's cool.
Trait system. This was asked as a question, and then Andy went off and talked about it quite a lot. They're really keen to introduce a trait system, so that because there's so many homebrew legios out there.
Yeah.
They want people to be able to have rule sets that are on par with the named legio.
So you're not punished for not taking a named legio.
Correct.
The interesting thing, I've only had a brief flick through, but looking at the long-term campaign system in Titan Death about generating veteran skills, you can level up your Titan crew, they become veterans and things like that. To be able to tie that in with a named trait, because I think realistically, I mean, you are looking at 5 to 10 models for a big Titan Legion. Being able to develop them, very similar like Necromunda game where you've got 5 to 10 models, to be able to take the time and develop them and name them and generate as skills and stuff, that'd be great. And to be able to do that then with your own Legio rules as well would really, allow you to go nuts on creating your flavour.
That's it. I think it's going to bring another level of depth to it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. And
that finally sort of rounded out AT, to be honest.
The final question that's been asked constantly, you've put at the bottom of your notes, no to Epic, not the same game.
No, that's it. He said it doesn't mean they won't ever do Epic as a specialist game. And yes, it may well use the same models, but he said the game you're playing is not transferable to Epic.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. I mean, me and Stu have talked a little bit around like super heavy tanks and stuff. And one of the things we discussed was like, could you have a squadron of like Shadow Swords operate similar to
a night banner kind of thing.
A night banner.
We've talked about this as well, Stu, haven't we? So
yeah, we have, yeah.
One of the questions was asked, actually, will we ever see Ordinatus as a middle ground?
Yeah.
And Andy said no. We won't see rules for a working Ordinatus. We might see rules for an Ordinatus as an objective.
Yeah.
And it may well have the ability to fire.
Yeah. Well, the other thing we muted is we talked about Titan Guard, and you were talking about maybe models for Titan Guards, and I said, well, why would you have Titan Guard? You could have you wouldn't need models. You could have stratagem. So, like the Audex defense lasers for the Warlord, you could have you could pay for Secretary Titan Guard stratagem. So, because the Audax are limited front and back, it's just to the back at the front and back. Yeah, front and back you can make attacks. You might be able to take your upgrade for your Secretary Titan Guard, which gives you a better defense in a similar manner. So I think they've got scope to introduce other elements like super heavy tanks, without having to bring the models in. But again, like you say, if you're, there's regular talk when a warlord fires. There's a really good description in the Hell's Reach book where like the warlords of Invigilata march to the walls, start firing on the orcs. And they have to clear the walls for hundreds of meters either side of the Titan so people just don't get melted by the weapons. So you think, why would you have your infantry buried under your warlord's feet? It's going to blow their heads off every time it fires.
Absolutely.
So, you could keep it to AT is definitely, I'm in that camp.
And Andy rounded that out by saying that the game system is designed around things with legs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to see super heavy tanks and stuff because that's not the way the rule system is designed to work with interaction of terrain and buildings and everything else and falling and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, that's kind of how he put it.
Yeah. Because there's no reason you couldn't have. We've got an artillery barrage stratagem. You could have your Imperial Army artillery barrage. There's things you could bring in. Supporting fire.
I mean, you could visually represent that.
Yeah. But if you've got a load of epic models and you want to put them on your bases, or you want to, I've got, because there is one strategy which is the artillery barrage stratagem. You could say, right, well, I'm going to model up a epic scale squadron of Medusas from the Imperial Guard, and I'm just going to put that at the back of my table because that's my little representation of it. Yeah, cool, great, but I don't think we need rules for them as such.
No.
Cool. So. New models then. What else did we see? What did we see models wise there?
Okay, so a lot of them we've talked about in units, but I'll kind of go through the list and you can kind of pick up where you want to pick up. So both the Night Lord's Praetors were there in power armor and is it Tartarus armor, the other one? I can't remember.
Yeah, Terminator armor.
Terminator. The Terminator one sold out really quickly, and then the power armor one promptly followed.
The power armor one, when I saw the bare-headed model, I was really sold on that. The head is amazing on that.
Both really nice models, to be honest. Really well done. I think they're really nailing it with these dual Praetor releases.
Oh god, yeah, I can't. The thing is, like, I'm now at the point where, like, when the Ultramarines ones come up, I'll just buy them. I just want them, because they're so good. It's like, I don't need one. I have no need for them, but I will buy them, which is what you want. You want that kind of. Just take my money and run.
So then the next one obviously was Blood Angel stuff because it's everywhere. So Sanguinius has been released and his base has been released separately. Now this seemed to cause a bit of controversy because people were like, well, other Primarchs come with a scenic base, but the idea was that his scenic base is so big that it's almost a duel.
It's
and they didn't. I mean, I'm speculating, but I imagine they didn't want to stack that price tag on with Sanguinius. That said, Sanguinius is still the most expensive Primarch on a par with Magnus.
But those wings are huge on him.
They are, and but I kid you not, having seen the model and held it and looked at it, he is worth every penny of that £80.
Yeah, I bet he is. He is absolutely stunning.
So there was him and his base. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying that his base was limited edition to events only. I haven't read that anywhere.
I thought the base was limited edition to the Weekender. I thought that was it. That was.
I just interpreted it was a short period. There we go. 3 different interpretations.
Yeah. So we're not sure on that, but
I would hate to think that it wouldn't be available. I mean, I don't own many of the Primarchs at all. I've still got this idea. At some point, I'd like to collect them and paint them all and have them on the shelf. I'll be sad if he was the only Primarch
you couldn't get the full one.
Absolutely.
But I would accept that if it was a Warhammer World only exclusive, so they kept a small amount of stock in. I know it's a ball ache for certain people to get to, but at least it's still available. You can maybe get someone to get it for you and send it to you.
There is a Facebook group, I think, actually spotted, which is Warhammer World exclusive buy sell trade.
If you're in Australia or something.
But there's
but rather than not having it at all.
There's a group that people who would say, "I'll buy it and I'll ship it out."
Yeah,
to you,
I've seen it. Yeah.
The only thing that occurred to me is that if this is a limited edition one, maybe he'll get a dual base with Commander.
Yeah, that's very valid.
They've done this because it gives the model context. He's in a very particular pose and strike. And then maybe Commander will take that place, but then Commander's going to be massive, so his base will be huge, and that'd be. I'm not sure that's actually a viable.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes with that. So next up was Ralderon.
Ralderon, yeah. And then Crimson Paladin Terminators.
Yeah, we've seen lots of those online before in the run-up as well.
Raldron was previewed and his models in the cabinet, but he wasn't on sale.
Yeah,
the previous things we talked about were on sale. Crimson Paladin Terminators were on sale.
Yeah.
They sold out very quickly.
I bet they did, yeah.
The Contemptible Boosters was shown as a 3D render only.
So that's a little while off, I guess.
Var Red Blade was on sale.
Yeah, much better in the resin.
Out of nowhere, Deathsworn.
And the Deathsworn are amazing.
They were there, they were painted, the resins were there. They're absolutely phenomenal, done by Alex, the same guy who finished off Var Red Blade.
Yeah.
And they're just phenomenal. Really, the kit's amazing. And they were on sale, which really blew me away. So I really didn't think they... When someone said Deathsworn are here, I thought they meant previewed, and it was... So that's incredible.
I've seen a lot of Wolves players who've gone, I've already got 10 Deathsworn, but I'm buying 5 more of these because they are amazing. They are stunning models.
Well, I was fortunate enough to pick them up, and I'm replacing mine without shadow of a doubt. The models are phenomenal.
Make Space Wolves great again.
Dwell on them a little bit. The stasis grenades are amazing. They're like little sand timers. They're incredible. Then onto White Scars. So all of they had the 2 White Scars Praetors that have been previewed. They had them there painted in the models to see. So there's one in power armor and there's one in cataphracti armor,
which is a bit odd.
Well,
there's something we've missed on White Scars I want to come on to when we've gone through these, if you don't mind. It kind of picks up these heavier dreadnoughts and stuff, which seems a bit strange. So you've got this guy in cataphracti armor with a hawk, which is quite cool. Then you've got White Scars Leviathan and a White Scars Contemptor, which
did cause some controversy on the internet.
It did. You've got the Ebon Keshig, which was shown as a 3D render only.
Yeah, and they look lovely.
And the Kaizagan Speeder, which was there to look at.
Yeah, I thought when they showed that preview online, I thought on the slides, I thought, okay, fair enough. And then they were like, and here's the model in the resin. I was like, wow,
While we're on White Scars, if I may, they were very... Neil and Anu stressed a lot over the whole weekend that all legions have everything.
Yeah.
And they use all styles of warfare. They specialise and have preferences to the ones that make their stereotypes, but they have a way of using everything.
I think the theory I was, or the logic I was given with the White Scars is, yes, they prefer, if they can, to not be interred. They would prefer not to.
Well, no, let me come on to the Contemptors and Leviathans, because that's quite cool. They have this idea that they're scared of them.
Yeah.
Because it's restricting and they're trapped and what have you.
Yeah.
But they're also, it's a conflicting viewpoint because their purpose is to serve the Emperor forever.
Yeah.
And they can do that if they're in a Contemptor or a Leviathan
was it given the idea that generally the Dreadnought, the White Scars Dreadnoughts are kept for looking after the ships and looking after
that's their functional role. Yeah. But they were saying they're held with such reverence that Dreadnoughts are allowed to do what they want.
Yeah.
So if a Dreadnought wants to go into sleep for ages, he can.
Yeah.
If he wants to go to a battle, he can. If he wants to go and stand on the bridge of a ship.
So it is quite an honoured position.
Correct. Yeah. And they're treated like sort of like these kind of mystic ancients that are allowed to do what they want.
Yeah.
Now, if they choose to go to war, they're never denied.
Yeah.
And the combat doctrine of the White Scars is they will find a way to make use of them.
They'll put some wheels on them and hold them on the back of a speeder.
I like to think that they're shouting angrily at the Blood Angels booster ones.
Yeah, they got some roller skates and a jet bike strapped under each arm.
But they're considered an ill omen.
Yeah.
So if they walk to war, it's considered an ill omen because it means that something big is going to happen. Might not be bad, but generally it is.
There's a momentous reason why the ancients are walking.
Yeah.
So
that was
cool.
There was quite a
that.
nice tie-in around that.
Yeah, I really like that. It doesn't feel like somebody's gone. Yeah, management have gone. You need to sell dreadnoughts for them, and they've gone. Oh, how are we going to make this work? It feels like it does genuinely fit.
Yeah.
The Scars. I don't think you'll see a Fury of the Ancients dreadnought list. Really, I'm not. Yes, there's reason for it. I don't think. But if somebody says, "Look, I've got my Contemptor with my White Scars," people aren't going to go, "Well, that doesn't work." I say, "No, it does."
But it was sort of described a bit like the Space Wolves as well, in that they're the keepers of the history of of the Legion and the knowledge and like their knowledge and understanding of battles and how to fight certain foes as well.
Yeah.
Like the commanders may go and take counsel with one of these ancients to learn about how to fight an enemy they've not fought before. That kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I really like that. I think it's like I said, it genuinely feels like there's a proper reason for it, not just it's not just a cynical, we're doing Legion Dreadnoughts, so we're doing Legion Leviathans, we better do a White Scars one. It genuinely feels like, there's actually a reason for that.
Absolutely. Then, sorry, we missed the Night Lords Leviathan, of course, which was on preview as well.
I think we talked about them on the last show, didn't we? The Night Lords stuff. I think we've seen a lot of those on the last show with the upcoming releases. So then there was
go on.
I was going to say then there's the new Knight.
Cerastus pattern Knight. Yeah.
Is it Cerastus? No, because it's the same as the Porphyron. Castus. It's a Castus Knight Porphyron rather than a Cerastus. It's the Castus class.
Oh, beg your pardon. You're right.
Is that right? Yeah, because it's got the same legs and body. I know that's I'm being nitpicky, but yeah, you got.
No, I got the wrong word. You're
you
right.
You got the Questorus plastic. You got the Cerastus that we know, and the Castus are the big heavy ones.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So it's the Mechanicum version of a Porphyron, essentially, is the way they described it in terms of aesthetic.
I love it.
Like you've got the Maduras and that. It's like them.
It's got a skull helm face and two massive double barrel conversion beamers. It's gonna be nuts.
And do you know what? It looks absolutely phenomenal.
I bet.
The model.
It's got that.
It looks amazing. And having built a Porphyron, I know you've gone through this pain as well. The way some of the armor panels fit on it and the kind of casings structures that hold them, it looked like a lot of that's been addressed in this model.
Oh, that's good then, because the Porphyron caused me some issues. That's why I was so glad when it devastated things, because it was like that hurts so much to build, and I'm hurting people with it.
Yes.
It's got that kind of rounded carapace top, like the.
And the segmented shoulder pads.
The same as the Atropos, so the Atropos. So you can feel that Mechanicum flavour to it as well. And I just think it just looks beastly.
I thought it was probably one of the best looking Knights that's out there, if I'm honest. Having seen the model, it looked phenomenal. It looks a lot nicer in the resin than in the pictures.
It's got that kind of bulk that you like with the Acastus pattern, the big heavy set, but it's got that kind of more Mechanicum flavour to it with the skulls and the
more
cogs.
sinister.
Yeah, I do love it. It probably will end up getting bought at some point as well.
Yeah. So that was there as a model to look at, but they didn't have a painted one or anything.
Yeah.
And it wasn't on sale. The Ordinatus Mole was there, and that was on sale.
Did we get any rules for that? Did they do a rule release?
There was. There were rules there to look at, and I think they said that they were going to be putting the PDF up online shortly.
Fair, because I haven't seen any rules.
If you bought one, you might have got given rules, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah. That's just I would say you probably didn't, because I'd have thought somebody would have posted them online by now. I've seen like the things I've seen is you've got two options basically. One, it comes in from reserve as like a massive termite, or the other one is it stays on the tracks, and then you like bury the tip into the ground, and it starts doing massive damage. It does like massive damage to other things as well.
Just the tip.
Bury the tip in, and start doing damage. But I've seen that, but it was all very sketchy as to what the actual rules were for it. But apparently, the 3 blades section at the front, the 3 twist independently.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, the lemon juicer on the front, apparently, it's in 3 sections, and you can twist them independently as they move independently as well, which sounds fucking wicked.
Sounds like someone will motorise one at some point then.
Yeah, Dave Gordon, most likely.
Yeah, probably. Dreadnought Drop Pod was there and on sale.
Yeah, which is great. We've seen that a few times now, and that's nice that's out.
Honest, it looks fun. I know it's just a drop pod, but it is phenomenal.
It looks really
well
good.
done.
Yeah.
It addressed a lot of the kind of construction and usability issues in terms of practically opening the petals that were on the old one.
I mean, they don't snap the joints off every time.
Or slam down and crush any model underneath it. It's pre-drilled for magnets as well, I believe.
It is, and it's big.
Yeah, it's bulky as well. Looks like it can take a Leviathan now.
It does, yeah. And I thought it was very, very fairly priced as well. I thought it was a good
Was
it
it 65?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's all resin as well. It's not like the.
But it's substantial though. It's not.
Well, the original one was pretty substantial. So
what I meant, it's not like the Ambulus where it's half plastic, half resin. Yeah. It's all resin.
Correct, yeah. And then Custo's Jetpack Infantry were there and on sale. Yeah, and they were there painted and in resins and everything. And they're phenomenal.
Yeah, they look really cool.
Really amazing models.
Yeah, they look really good. They're really nice. And actually pretty fairly, I think I put the comment in the group when I shared it into our group, actually, rules are good, but not ridiculous. They're pointed pretty fairly. They seem to work right. They seem to do what the model seems to look like they do. And it also, for every plus they've got, there's a drawback on something else. So I think that's a really nice. If that's the style that this new list is going to come out in that kind of, Yeah, they're good. They're the finest. They're the Emperor's Elite. But they work like they should. They're not infallible. Cool, great. I'm really excited for that new custom.
I think they really showed that. For me, they really showed what the collaboration of different staff members can do as well. Because Anuj came up with the concept and fleshed out some rules and what he wanted them to do. He then worked with Mark Bedford and I think it was Chris, one of the sculptors, to develop them. And they all worked as a trio and tweaking rules, tweaking the kit, tweaking the visuals of them to get what they wanted out of it. So they had a really good end product. And I think it really showed the strength of that collaboration.
Yeah, it really shows what Forge they're really getting back into their stride now and really what they can do.
Rather than having one person do one thing in isolation and maybe not meeting expectations, you know?
Yeah, rather than somebody go, so here's a bunch, here's some rules I've written, or here's a model I've made, make some rules for it. You know, it's like...
Which is what happens with the main 40k and AOS studios, isn't it? The model comes first, and then they get sent to the rules design. They've got to come up with rules and background to go with it.
If it goes either way,
smaller studio means that there's a benefits of it, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and then we got some Adeptus Titanicus stuff that we've kind of covered, didn't we? The building kits, Legio Furians, transfers, Doom and Melek book, Night Strides, and all of those were previewed. None of those were for sale, were they?
That's correct. Yeah, but I think building kits are imminent.
Yeah. They had the boxes and everything there, didn't they? They looked like a ready to go product.
I think Legio Furians transfers were actually on sale.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm just thinking. I'm sure I saw Mike French post that he's got a set of them. I think you're right. I think the Furians transfers were for sale.
And then they had 3D previews, as in 3D renders of the Quake Cannon, Gatling Cannon, Carapace Gatling Blasters.
Well, you say that somebody just took the print out of the one for the 28mm and went to the photocopier and pressed reduce on it, didn't they?
Hey, I was convinced. And then the Reaver, Carapace, Mega Bolter, and Warp Missile were all previewed. But yeah,
that's fantastic.
Absolutely superb.
Yeah, I think nobody could walk away from that. I mean, we've just done a good couple of hours on the Heresy stuff, and as a Necromunda fan, we haven't even touched the Necromunda stuff, and I could probably do another hour or two on Necromunda as well, because the stuff that came out there was stunning.
It had no adverse effect on the Weekender whatsoever, in my opinion. Now, that comes with a caveat that I've not been to the previous ones, but at no point in the day did I think, oh, this is Necromunda and I've got to do this.
I've got nothing to do while this is on.
With the exception of a painting pod, which is really actually painting. Everything I did was heresy based, and I didn't feel that Necromunda was there in any way, shape, or form. No, and I'm not really a Necromunda fan. I've played the old game a little bit. I've not got into the new one, and it doesn't particularly interest or excite me. But it didn't get in the way in any way. Yeah,
and as I say, as a Necromunda fan, for me, like with all the heresy stuff and the Necromunda stuff, it was just like a weekend of me going, oh look, there's more pictures of amazing looking stuff for both systems. I
didn't hear any complaints about it. The complaints beforehand, and that was more about the way that it was handled beforehand. I didn't hear.
That's poor PR.
The only complaints I heard about the whole weekend was people moaning about the Friday, about the opening, people queuing in, not opening on time, etc., etc.
But again, that's an event anyway. That happens at all kinds.
But that's not about. That sounds like their complaints towards the events running team. Nothing to do with Forge World at all.
I mean, a quick little.
Everything during the day ran on time. They did a really good thing where they walked around, handed out wristbands for seminars and things. So you could get a wristband. It didn't mean that was all of the seats. It was priority.
Oh, that's good. So you
go and get the ones that you really wanted to go to, and it meant if you had a wristband, you'd get let in first.
Yeah, and then they'd see how many seats were left and let anybody else in as well.
And I don't recall anyone being turned away from anything.
No, that sounds good. It sounds like they were.
That said, I was sat with a wristband, so I wouldn't have known anyway.
Yeah, you didn't give a shit. You got your priority.
Care about the plebs.
Absolutely.
Just one thing before we round out. Then there was a painting competition there. It wasn't a Golden Demon, but it was a painting competition. I know Steve Trafidorus picked up a few bits and pieces. I can't remember his name, but chap Warmaster Painting took over all with his Gilliman, which was stunning. Nathaniel, that's it. Yeah, his Gilliman was stunning. I mean, Warmaster Painting, produces some of the stunning looking stuff at the moment. Yeah, he's absolutely brilliant.
Ollie Mew
picked up a bunch of stuff.
Definitely got a second or a third.
Yeah. There was a Warhound diorama that
was that Ryan Allen's?
Yeah, Ryan Allen's. He did the Battlefleet Gothic diorama a couple of years ago as well, Golden Demon. So yeah, the painting standard and the painting awards looked really top quality as well, and it was really nice because it wasn't a certificate; it was a really nice glass trophy.
You deliberately leaving out Dan.
Oh no, Wheeler didn't get anything. No.
Mr. Wheeler got one for his Siron Dreadnought.
Wheeler got his Siron Dreadnought.
superb.
He got a win for that, but I mean that's nothing really. He's got a glass trophy from Tarsus. I mean, what's a GW one?
Spelt
when you've
wrong,
got a
though.
Tarsus?
Was
no,
it
spelled right? The certificates aren't spelled right. Yeah, no, Dan. Well done, Dan, on picking up he picked up first place in vehicle, didn't he? But it was what I was.
It was quite funny actually because we were sat there firmly believing the way they'd been placed in the cabinet that he was getting second.
Yeah.
And we were sort of, that's cool. He was really stoked with second place. We sat there, and he's kind of he's aware he's going to get called up because his model's on the top shelf.
Yeah.
And then they didn't call him for second, and he kind of went a strange shade of grey when he realised that he got first place. It was excellent.
It was really well done. So, but yeah, I think it was really well handled. There was good categories. They had a nice prize. You know, that glass trophy was lovely. I mean, where'd they steal that idea from? But you know,
I don't know. But it's sharp. It's a weapon.
It's a weapon. Good thing they give them out on Sunday, not on the Saturday night with the drinking going on there.
Well, do you know, as a ticket holder, because we wouldn't have known, were the categories shared beforehand with ticket holders? Was there a kind of a pre-pack that said these are the
I don't know.
areas you can enter?
There seems to have been. I bought my ticket off somebody else, so I'm not been privy to a lot of it. I understand that there were emails going out about things like food and stuff that was happening at the event. Okay. So there may well have been one. But
I was going to say, yeah. 'Cause otherwise, it was a bit of potluck. Turn up with what you got, which is probably not.
Yeah, I didn't know it.
I mean,
didn't know whether they would have or not.
You could probably take a fairly safe bet vehicle unit in character. So yeah,
they had an open category as well. So I guess that was the catch-all if anyone.
Yeah, did turn up with a diorama or something completely there. So awesome. Well, thank you very much to our roving reporter Pete.
Pleasure. Thank you, chaps.
And we will take a short commercial break.
Lord Marshal, great sir. Legion reinforcements now visible on the left flank.
About time. The wolves, I see.
No sir. Ultramarines, sir.
But they're wearing grey, Proclamator Fennec.
Fox message said new recruits, sir. No time to paint armour.
At least the Raven Guard are in black armour.
Sorry, sir. That's more Ultramarines.
For Emperor's sake, fox them and find out why.
Also new armour, sir. Their eye lenses are red and the bolt guns are silver. 3 colours minimum, sir.
What the? Get on the Vox now and tell them to contact Miniature Realm Studio.
Miniature Realm Studio, sir?
Yes, Fennec. Miniature Realm Studio offers a commission painting service, competitive rates, and a range of painting standards to suit most budgets and requirements.
Yes, sir. I suppose they do say that fully painted is for closers.
What does that even mean, Fennec?
I don't know, sir.
Miniature Realms Studio can be found on Facebook, on Twitter at Miniature Realms, on Instagram at Miniature Realms Studio, or just drop Stuart an email at miniaturerealmstudio@gmail.com.
Welcome back then. We're just going to have a quick close out then as we've covered a lot of stuff with the weekend. Again, big thanks to Pete for coming on and covering it for us, and being organised and actually knowing
doing
what's
all the
going
work,
on.
really,
Doing everything and just letting me rabbit on in the corner, and being very patient with my idiocy. Not much to shout out. Again, if you've got events, like I said, yes, by all means, send them in to us. We'll shout them out, but post them in the group because it's so much quicker.
Don't need permission.
Don't need permission. Just stick your event up as long as it's heresy or AT related, or hobby related. Get them in there. Just because we record on such an infrequent schedule, by half the time we get the events in, it's like by the time we've recorded, it's gone. So all the tickets have sold and stuff. So. Sorry, I'm totally distracted because I'm looking at the results from the 30k Frontier event. I'm completely distracted by Harry's shirt.
Yeah, I think he lost his luggage on the way up or something. He had to go to the charity shop in the morning.
Yeah, that is a powerful statement, Harry. That is a powerful statement. I mean, he is with Heresy's best loved couple.
There's quite a few statements with that many colours involved.
Yeah. And to anybody who doesn't know, go and have a look at the 30k Frontier Facebook page. Go and have a look at the best the Will Winners photos and Harry,
it's like 2 shades of baby poo and blue.
Let's face it, he's youth, he can get away with it, I can't. Anyway,
we're just showing our age. That is actually what the kids are wearing these days.
Something my nan would wear. Right, anyway, enough of that. Enough slating people on the internet for the 1 month. I've been told I have to apologise for this month's choice of song. Because it's my month to choose again. I've no idea where the conversation came from, where this came from, but it definitely... Was it the Onion Ploy group?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
you were talking about your own sexual prowess.
And
I sent this song to you as a link, and you said you wanted it as the
because it perfectly sums me up. There'll be more details on the Oedipus's Onions next month. I'm going to try and get an event overview pack out soon with details in of what's going on. and everything like that. But we're still sort of just finalising the last few details of how we're going to do things. Latest discussion is will we do Saturday and Sunday tickets for the main narrative event, which I think we're going to do. So there'll be a Saturday. Basically, you'll be able to buy. There'll be 4 sets of tickets going up now. Saturday, small event, Saturday main event, Sunday small event, Sunday main event, and then a Titanic. I think I'm going to go with Titanic because I'm going to play
this.
in it.
This is the conversation. We know what's going to be there. It's we divide it up and split the ticket sales up so that people can do what they want and get the right value for that.
What we're trying to do is make sure everybody can do what they want to do at the weekend. Everyone can get down there. We get more people involved.
We have the right numbers of people and safe numbers of people in the building at the same time.
Yeah, I've got to do all that kind of stuff, and then finalising details on the painting competition and things. Just so, I don't want to put out a half-assed pack. I want to put out a decent pack so we know what it is. So if it takes me a little bit longer to get it right, I'll get it right. I'm also travelling the length and breadth of the fucking country at the moment with work, so trying to sit down.
The dates aren't going to change. So
you know the dates. That's why we put it out. Put the dates in the diary. If you want to be involved, they're going to be the dates. So get it saved in your diary. I know people are already booking work off. I think Paul's already looking at flights across the... I think Paul's already booked his hotel and his flight, so I better get a fucking event.
He did that last time, didn't he?
Yeah, so we better get it.
He got a ticket, so it was all right.
So, sorted then, guys. Enjoy... 2 Pump Harry, and we will see you.
2-stroke Eddie.
2-stroke Harry?
2-stroke Eddie.
2-stroke onions?
Yeah.
Well, fuck you and your onions. I'll see you soon.
Hey, is that Eddie's cum you're wearing? Uh-huh. Gee, it must be great riding him. He pulled upon a yummy 750. I got all wet, my buttocks started shifting. So I gave him a wink and says, buys a drink. I got a double brandy and coke. He says, come outside and we'll go for a ride. I gave his leather trousers a stroke. 2-stroke Eddie. 2-stroke Eddie. I told him straight away I want parking. Tell us about the sergeant before. He only had an inch and that was foreskin. Sounds like he was hung like a bone. Then the ugly twat finished in 2 seconds flat. He had a problem with his timing. And the fat spotted bum asked me if I'd come. He's not worth the crisp off me gusset lining. 2-stroke Eddie. 2-stroke Eddie. I said I couldn't give a toss about the size, dear. But you're a fucking long slut. 2-stroke Eddie couldn't touch the size, dear. He didn't even have a foot. He just made